Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another 320 Sim Pilot live stream today in our first attempt at a Microsoft Flight Simulator stream here in Dublin with this fantastic livery, which I will talk about when we get underway, but it was sent over to me by somebody and I couldn't resist using it. I think it looks absolutely glorious. Long-time viewers will know I really like the person who made this livery described it as cheat lines. I'm not sure if that's why they're called that, but these lines down the window. But anyway, thank you all for coming along to the chat. Let me know how the audio is. As ever, this is the third simulator, different simulator. We've already streamed 2020, but I'm using slightly different setup today, so we'll see how it goes. So do keep the feedback coming. But yeah, great to see you all. Thank you all for coming along. I know it's typical of these times to be streaming at all sorts of times of day, so thank you all for coming along wherever it is at your time in the world. I know we have people sometimes getting up, sometimes going to bed. It's late afternoon here, 5 o'clock in the UK where I am. So jumping into the chat, good to see you. Chickpoint, thanks for coming along. And yes, this flight will be on VATSIM. So normally, so far, all my flight simulator streams have been on group flight, but today will be on VATSIM. So unless you sign into VATSIM, you won't appear on my screen. I also don't have any name tags showing up, sadly, this time, but we'll tune into the radio soon and we'll get to hear who's around. But yeah, so there we are, parked on stand. These other aircraft you can see are other pilots flying in whichever simulator they're in, which I think is quite an amazing piece of technology that all works. So yeah, we're gonna join in very shortly. The route is in the chat earlier on if any of you are planning to fly along using VATSIM, and just going to say hello to a few people. So hello to Luke, thanks for coming along. Eastbirds Lee, glad you're looking forward to it. And yeah, the route's now in the chat. Alex UK, thanks for coming. Richard V and Dougal, thank you both for coming along and moderating, very kind of you. I hope you're both doing very well this evening, although Dougal, did I see you've burnt your hands? I hope you haven't done too much damage. Time Walker, thanks for coming along. Yeah, a few extra streams at the moment. As you guys probably know, I'm UK based, so yeah, things are a little bit quiet at the moment. Hopefully that changes as the year goes on. But yeah, a chance to do a few more streams, a bit back like when we started doing this in the summer. So a little more time now. So thank you all for coming along to join us for the stream. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it should be good fun. It should be something interesting. Let me see if I can get the name right. Pleiades, hello to you. Thanks for coming along. Juan Carlos Lorente, thank you as well. Richard Craig, good to see you. Oscar Lamprecht as well. Darren, hello. Great to see so many of you coming along. SSK123 says, what are your specs? Now, the CloudBot should come to life. Sometimes it's a little bit slow. So I'm just going to... Oh, no, don't do that. Just going to try and wake it up. But yeah, the specs I'm running are an i7-10700K processor, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and an RTX 3080 graphics card. This is running at 1080p today. That's how I stream. Otherwise, yeah, it just makes a mess of the formatting if I try and stream in high resolution. But with the new graphics card, my new videos are all in 1440p, which I think looks quite nice anyway. Slightly higher bitrate as well. Freddie, good to see you as well. Thanks for coming along. Dylan, glad to see you're here. Ted Striker 88, good to see you again. Lots of names I recognise and a few new names I don't recognise, so thank you all. Mike Lee, good to see you as well. And I will stop doing this because my chat is going to run out of room. Action Hines, I can see. Sorry, Ladette Legend again. Carl, good to see you. Hayden J. Robbins, good to see you coming along as well. And Turtle Kayak, lots of regular members here as well as new names, so that's great. Chief Sim Pilot, thanks for coming along as well. It's Chief Sim Pilot, another YouTube streamer. Beef stew today for Dougal. So Dougal always has dinner around the time of my streams. The reason this stream is slightly earlier than normal is just so I can have a chance to get some dinner myself at a reasonable time. After my last stream, I was eating so late, it became a bit silly. So yeah, slightly earlier. So first of all, let's go and enjoy this livery slightly. It's been sent over to me, as I said. Somebody had seen my channel and knew I liked these sorts of liveries. Let me just slow down that drone because that is just too fast. So yeah, so here we go. I think they've done a fantastic job. We've got the obviously the shamrock in the older style. That's changed a few times over the years. It's not part of their logo that they keep consistent. They do change it and update it. So there we go. Aer Lingus, obviously, they got rid of International, Irish Airlines International, all the various names they've used. And that's very kind of you, Melvin Reyes. Thank you very much for the $5 donation. That's very kind of you. Melvin says, good evening, Captain. Cheers from the Honduras. Well, fantastic. Great to see the names from all over the world, as ever. Thanks for your contributions and A320 knowledge. I have learned so much thanks to you. Have a good flight. That's really kind. Thank you so much, Melvin. I'm glad the videos have helped. Hopefully, today can help some people as well. But also, we're just going to learn a few things about the game, because we haven't used this aircraft in this simulator much on the stream. But yeah, that's very kind, Melvin. Thank you. Really appreciate the support for the channel. My chat is lagging slightly behind, so again I do apologise to those of you if I miss your questions, but do feel free, just if I miss your question, just wait for a quieter time and then try again. But yeah, here we go. So they've done a great job. They've done something that I found really tricky when we designed the livery, my Manta livery, which I use in X-Plane, getting these smooth lines around the nose cone and so on. So they've done a great job there. We've got nice big chrome metal engines. That's fantastic. I wish we could see that. Of course, these engines now, I mean, this livery was used on the 737-200, which did have a metal shroud, but I don't know. I imagine it's probably composite now on the LEAP engines, so I don't know if this would even be a possible style, much like the Dreamliner can't be sort of chrome anymore. Same with the wings. They're not. I've never seen an Airbus wings in these colour, but yeah, it fits in with the retro look. This sort of brush metal, really good, really rugged. So I do like it a lot, and a great job on the sharklets as well, because of course these didn't exist back when this livery was around, so nice to see the detail put in there. Yeah, really great job. And then we got that original shamrock up there, all looking very nice. Another tricky part, the tail, all done really smoothly. So yeah, this livery is available. It's in the description of the video if you guys would like to go and check it out for yourselves. It seems to work fine with the current mod anyway. You'll notice these doors. This is always interesting to me, that these outlines on the doors are like this. That is a rule. They have to be contrasting. So you'll see door outlines change colour, and the weird thing on the Airbus is this happens where you get this sort of drop down part that doesn't contrast, because often this colour here is grey, and if that ran all the way to the bottom it would match the scuff plate underneath, so it tends to run slightly above it. But yeah, the exits have to be clearly visible from the outside of the aeroplane in the paint scheme. You can't just paint them over so you'll always be able to see the doors. Right, here we go. No, we're not on Twitch. To those asking, Hisham, if you want to join the flight you need to have VATSIM for this one. It's not to say we won't stream the 320 using a group flight, but for now, this is where we are. Right, let's jump into that flight deck. And no, we're not on Twitch. So let's get started. I mean, it's a whole new world really for me. I haven't done this full setup on this plane very much at all, because I mostly just do it for the videos. I haven't done many flights in it, because when I do flights I tend to stream them on X-Plane. So we'll do the preliminary cockpit prep from the checklist, because that's what you would do in the real aircraft. Dylan Carletta says, hello from the US, love your vids, they are very helpful, coming from the perspective of heading to an aviation college to fly for airlines, my future. Dylan, that's $5 donation, that's very kind, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the support on the channel. I'm glad the videos have helped you as well, it's really great to hear. And yeah, the support on the channel is really appreciated, thank you so much. So thank you to Dylan. Right, engine master switches all off. Yep, these two should be off. You would definitely hope so. Engine mode selector norm, landing gear lever down, wipers off. I've said this before, you want those off, because if you power on and they're on, it's going to scratch the windscreen really badly. I mean, nobody should have the wipers on when they, I suppose you might have it on when you park on stand, but you'll definitely have turned them off straight away, because they're so noisy. You'll hear them on the radio if someone's using the wipers on approach. They're that loud. Battery switches on and check annotation. Well, we know that these should say 25.5, so these are undercharged batteries, but that's just a function of the simulator for now. So we'll turn them on. They would normally jump up in voltage now as they get charged straight away. External power, if available, on. But it is available, that's lucky. AP fire test perform. We can't do that yet until the triple click comes in, which it will, because the mod team have added it amazingly. Just going to increase the brightness here, set up the lighting while I wait for that triple click. Hopefully you guys can hear it as well, so do let me know if the audio is all wrong. Oh, sorry, that zooming is when I zoom into my chat window on the left, so again, apologies as I get used to this new simulator. Yeah, it is an incredibly retro livery. This is from the 1980s, this livery was used pretty much, but I don't think it was ever on an Airbus. I don't think it was. This is a... the Airbuses came in 2000, so this livery was gone by then, I think. So you may hear a few... You heard all the whoosh of the avionics. There's that triple click, which is the flight warning computers coming online, so they now are available, so we can run our APU fire tests. Yep, all working. APU start. Again, they've done a fantastic job with this. we will see it appear on the bottom there. So master switch on, there it is, wait 3 seconds, and starts. And now it will spool up nicely. Oh dear, the zooming is silly. It's I do apologise. Thank you for the subscription to Jacob Miller. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoyed the video. When do you use the wipers? The wipers are used on the ground when you're taxiing around in sort of rain or on approach in really heavy rain. We try to avoid them because they're quite distracting. You may use them on takeoff, but pretty much taxiing on the ground, takeoff and landing, just the last 200 feet on approach maybe, and just until you get in the air, and then you'll turn them off. They have a speed limit. You can't use them above 230 knots. Wow, lots of subscriptions there. I think Streamlabs has been doing this, so I'll try and read a few of those out. But yeah, thank you to Jacob, Tildens, Adrian, Pinkel, I'm not sure I'm getting that name right, Gustavo, Odin, Lee. Very kind of you. I hope you all enjoy the video. But yeah, the notifications are probably a bit old. Right, and don't forget, of course, if you want to ask directly to me, you can tag my name in the chat, and that will highlight the message to me. But yeah, DCS, we have streamed DCS before on the channel. Yep, we've streamed the F14, and we'll do it again. I've figured out why the stream was lagging. It didn't work too well, so yeah, we'll get that sorted next time. Click on the second monitor screen and then zoom. Yeah, thank you very much, David Bruce. Yeah, I will try to remember to do that. Got to click between the screens. Excellent. Hello from Berlin, 256 Germany. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. This livery was in the 747s, Aer Lingus. There you go, it was used on the 74 as well. Right, so that APU is crawling up into power. I think that's a little bit slow, to be honest. But anyway, APU start. We don't actually have to wait for it because we've got power. Cockpit lights we've already set. Parking brake, let's check that is on. Accu brake pressure, check. That is talking about this little dial down here. Oscar Lamprecht, €10 donation, very kind. I wish you and all your families the best for the new year and hope that everyone stays safe and healthy. Thank you for your videos and streams. Again, we really appreciate it. Happy New Year from EDDH. That's Hamburg, I believe. So Oscar, that's very kind. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, very kind of you. It's great to have so much support here. Right. Oh my goodness, I can't keep up. 350 live viewers is definitely a new record for the channel, so thank you all for coming along. I'm sorry it's taking me so long. We will get to Bergen. David Bruce giving that information, thank you for that. And then we've got another donation. Brian Griffin, 787. Oh my goodness, €20. Again, incredibly kind. You're too generous. Brian Griffin says, hello from Ireland. Oh, fantastic. We're in Brian's country. Here is a donation to cover the cost of Dublin add-on scenery available on Orbex's direct site. It's really detailed. Have a great flight. Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate it, and I'll have to have a look for that. I didn't realise that was available when I did the stream. We have got freeware scenery for Bergen, but thank you for your €20. Thank you for the support to the channel. I really appreciate it, Brian. It's very kind of you. And Fesix Germany, yes, please do subscribe. And Carl Friston says 50. Ooh, DKK. Is that Danish krone? Denmark, yes. Finally tuning into a stream of yours, coming in from an aviation family from Denmark with my dad flying the 350 and 330 for Scandinavia. That's very kind, Carl. We all know a very famous Scandinavian 350, 330 pilot, don't we? But fantastic. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much, Carl. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. And yeah, wow. I mean, so much generosity from the community today so far. I mean, that's amazing. Thank you all. That's really kind. Naim says, I love your voice. I'm glad. Right. Paul Smith says we're still waiting for the long haul. There'll be more news about that soon. It is coming soon. I promise. I promise. I promise. Yeah, if we can get the likes up, if everyone watching does like the video, it really helps out. YouTube will support us more. Helps the channel a lot. So thanks. Thanks, Mateo. Right, so cockpit lights are set. Parking brake is on. Accu brake pressure, check. So what the accu brake pressure is showing us is the accumulator is this dial on the top. We want it to be in the green. Sometimes it's a bit low, which will be because it's run out of pressure. It's used up some of the pressure. It accumulates pressure that keeps it there even when the hydraulic pumps are off. So what can happen is it will run out just from being on the ground, but by the time the ground crew open the cargo doors, the yellow electric pump will run and usually top it up. Alternatively, we can run the yellow pump, but if we do, we have to be careful. So we try not to do that too often because it does power the hydraulics via the power transfer unit. And the brakes, check these needles are up. They can be out of the green. The green is for some other purpose, but you want them to be up to show the brakes are holding. Matteo Chewy as well, £5 donation, a little nudge towards the Twin Otter or anything else that takes your fancy. That's very kind, Matteo, a long time supporter of the channel and moderator. Thank you, Matteo. I really appreciate your support for the channel over all these months. I mean, it won't be long before we can celebrate our anniversary of the channel. But thank you, Matteo, I really appreciate it. And yeah, the Twin Otter, I was looking at that just yesterday actually. I was absolutely getting interested. It does look great. Right, APU start, cockpit light, parking brake, accu brake pressure check, flaps up. So that's got to be at 0, and we want to see them up on here. If they don't match, there's a problem, and we have to get engineers out. Speed brake lever disarmed and retracted, which it is. Probe window heat auto, it should be an auto anyway, which it is. APU bleed on. Well, we let it warm up these days because we want it to be up to the right temperature before we start using air from it. So we'll just we had a couple of minutes there, I'm sure. Klaus Kroner, learning a lot from your videos. Thank you. That's very kind, Klaus. Another Danish Kroner 50. That's really kind. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. I mean, this is outrageous. You guys have been so supportive. I'm a little overwhelmed today. This is, yeah, thank you so much. I'm really sorry to those of you who are asking questions that I don't see. The flight's quite long today. It's about 1 hour 35, so hopefully I will get time in the flight to chat to you guys and answer some more questions. If I'd known it would be this busy, I'd have probably had the airplane powered up and ready to go. I thought we'd be, yeah, a little quieter. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Klaus. Right, AP bleed on. Check overhead panel for white lights. Yeah, so this is now leading into the flows we do. This sort of stuff is, yeah, it's not. This is slightly different format to what I'm used to doing. So what I'm going to do is close that now. So we got that up and running, and then I'm going to run through some flows just to get ourselves underway. So again, this won't be perfect, but this is because this is a slightly different procedure to how I would normally do it, but it's a very good one that they've included with that checklist. So coming up here, the flow goes from bottom to top on each of these panels. So we're going to go here, wipers are already off, don't need to call anyone, get that crew oxygen ready to go. Ground control should come on now, but it doesn't work, so that's fine. These fault lights are normal because the airplane doesn't know where it is, so it can't use a GPWS system, obviously. Don't want any warning lights or any of these buttons pressed. We want these all in, and let's get these IRSs aligning. Then we come down here, strobes to auto, so they come on in case we forget them later. Nav lights definitely to 1 or 2. Oh, I see they've added, it looks like there's a 1 and 2 position now, but it doesn't actually move between them. Otherwise, beacon stays off and all the other lights stay off. We're going to put the seatbelt signs on. Actually, it's easier if we do no smoking to auto, seatbelt signs on, emergency lights to arm. That way we can board passengers. You can't have passengers on board unless you've armed the emergency lights. Dome light can be on dim just so you guys might be able to see a bit better. Overhead light on. This should all be in auto, no lights out. No lights on. This should all be in off positions except that which is in auto when the lights are off. Set these temperatures. You wouldn't have them that cold unless it's the middle of summer and you're struggling to cool down the cabin. So to get those wound up, there we go. And let's have a look. External power is on. Well, now we're on the APU. Let's turn that off. We don't need it anymore, and it will just stay available. But you can't disconnect it. You can't tell the ground crew to disconnect it until you turn it off. Otherwise, they could get quite the electric shock. Get those fuel pumps up and running. We'll do our engine fire tests. Now there is also some indications we'll look at on the ECAM, but if I bring up that extra window to show you guys, it doesn't actually appear on the video. I still have to work that one out. Wiper off. These are to do with the. Oh, there wouldn't be an N1 mode in this one, I don't think. This is a N1 aircraft anyway. So that's odd. That's an old thing. That's from IAE engines that use EPR instead of N1. So strange to see that here, actually. Yeah, I'm surprised that someone modelled that. Anyway, there we go. And all those other bits are out. We would normally turn on the PA there, so PAs are recorded. Fantastic. Now I have managed to get you guys. Oh, there we go. Control 8. So as I said before, or if I haven't said it yet, you guys are going to be very useful to me because you guys have got all the great tips for this simulator, which I'm not so familiar with. But there we go. So that's a pretty much set up overhead panel, ready to go. Let's jump back into our seats, and we would of course do our oxygen test, but that's not going to happen today. That does not work yet either. I'm going to come along here. I'm going to set the QNH. Easiest thing in the world in Microsoft Flight Simulator, thankfully, because you can just hit the B button. It looks like it's 1004. We've got 5,000 feet, and yeah, well, I'll check the SID shortly. So what I'm going to do is just, oh, I do find these a little bit fiddly. Come on. I'll set 39. There we go. I always set an odd number like that so that I can remember I haven't got clearance yet from air traffic control. Probably going to have constraints on for takeoff, almost certainly on both sides, and the flight director's on. Then we come down here, we've got our standby instrument all ready to go, got the QNH on there. We'll check that, anti-skid nozzle steering is on, and everything else looks pretty good. You'd have also checked the oil quantities. I mean, that's a little bit too much really, but yeah, as long as that's in the green or enough for your flight. We also want to check the hydraulics to make sure there is enough quantity. That page isn't modelled yet. And finally, we'll check we have enough oxygen. So we have oxygen for both pilots in case we need the emergency oxygen supply. So there we go. Right, I'm trying to not mess up the clicking. My OCD was calmed down when you press Control 8. Yeah, sorry guys. Vertical speed control. I think you flicked that switch by accident. Okay, let's have a look. So using my newfound skill, Control 8, man, vertical speed. To be honest, even if you did move that like that, I shouldn't fiddle because I know this mod is not perfect yet, but it's in manual mode. You'd have to turn it on to make that happen. So we'll leave it as it is. Nick James, it's very kind of you. 15 Canadian dollar donation, I think that is. Hands down the best flight sim channel on YouTube. That's very kind. I don't know. That's incredibly kind of you to say. Thank you for everything. If my math is correct, this should be about 10 euros. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy the channel and the videos, and thank you for your support. It's amazing. Yeah, thanks, Nick. Thanks for supporting the channel. Okay, my goodness. Anything I've missed? By the way, you can do the fire test and switch to eCam view with hotkeys whilst holding the button. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I need to get better at the hotkeys. Clearly, you guys are all on top of that. Hello to Ralph as well. Thanks for coming along. Right. What's Vladislav saying? I'm sorry for asking this again, but I want to buy a good side stick for the Airbus. Wonder what you are using. I'm using the Thrustmaster HOTAS 4, but my favourite feeling side stick, joystick, is the Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog. However, it doesn't have rudder control built into it, so it's not always ideal in that sense. Okay, so we have... goodness me, where are we? Right, and then we're going to come down here. We're going to make sure... Well, it's pretty much time to do the MCDU, but we'll do some other things down here. Make sure, for example, the gravity extension is down and away. Set the transponder to roughly what we need it to, but yeah, that's fine. And most of those aren't working yet. Switching panel should all be in norm, obviously. Get rid of that. Okay. George, €5 donation. Very kind of you, George. Best wishes and a happy new year from Greece. Great to see you over here in the chat from Greece. Thank you for coming along. Keep up this great effort and channel. I will. Thank you very much, George. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos, and thank you for your donation. It all helps the channel a lot, so thank you so much. Really appreciate it, George. Okay. Right. I have my sim brief ready to go. Let me just pull it up into a separate tab if I can. Please work. Microsoft. Okay, right. So let us run through a few things. So they've added loads of details in here, which you guys again will probably know more about, but I'm going to start off FMGC. Let's go in. We've got the correct database, which I think is great. This little new thing they've added, stored waypoints, this is really accurate. And somebody did, if I do, is it left control? No. Is it right control? No. Is it left alt? No. Is it right alt? Okay, does that actually appear on the stream? I don't think it does. No, it does not. Okay. Yeah, I thought not. Right, anyway, so sorry guys, I can't make that bigger for you right now. Hopefully it's okay for you. Yeah, okay, control 0 to 9, all the cameras with different control panels. Yeah, so let's try control 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. That's going to work better for you guys. Yeah, these stored waypoints are waypoints that we enter in. I don't think the functionality to actually enter them is available yet, but this message would appear if you've used them. So there we go. So diff strip data. We've checked data page. Let's go to init. I'm going to do this all the proper way. So we're going from Dublin to Bergen, Echo, November, Bravo, Romeo. In it goes. Now I could just download it from SimBrief actually, having thought about it, because they added that function, but I wonder if that would still work actually. So to those of you wondering, if you have SimBrief, which is what I've used to make this, go to ATSU AOC. In fact, I don't even need to do that. I've probably lost my chance now. Now in the real aircraft, if you do this, it is possible, if you cycle the database, no, it's not modelled, you could actually reset the FMGC to this page, and then you can load it in again from the ACARS, but yeah, I was too quick. Like I say, I haven't streamed this airplane on here before, so I'm slightly nervous to make sure I don't, because I know there are a few ways to, a few ways to mess it up. So hopefully we don't run into those. 242. Cost index today 42, pretty high. Cost index actually cruising at flight level 370, minus 52. And That's looking good. Wind temp. Doesn't look like you can request it yet, but you can put in a component. I have done that already before. IRS init. It should align on the GPS position, so I shouldn't need to do that in a NEO aircraft. Patrick 021, €5 donation. Very kind of you, Patrick. Says simply the best. Great tutorials. Thank you for that. Greetings from EDTF, which is Freiburg in Germany. That's fantastic, Patrick. Thank you so much for your €5 donation. I really appreciate it. Really helps the channel. Yeah, thank you. It's very kind. Yeah, thank you, Patrick. I hope you're doing well over in Germany. Right. So that is the init A page pretty much done. Next is flight plan. So we're departing from, I'm imagining 28. I don't know why it says 28 left, but there we go. And we're going to go via Rotev. Now, I'm expecting this just based on the weather. We shall find out soon that I'm wrong, no doubt. If those of you who watch my X-Plane streams will know that that happens very regularly. So let's see if we can get this to work. So from Rotev, I want to go to Gotna. No. So I'm going to put it in here. It's slightly strange formatting. It's funny, like I couldn't... There we go. I can't tell you what's different about this in the real aircraft, but something isn't quite as I expect it to be. It's really funny, but I couldn't tell you. I'm pretty sure you don't have to enter it next to the next waypoint, but anyway, there we go. It is working, so I won't complain. It could be that I'm misremembering. Blacker, then Tango Romeo November. Which one do we want? Well, I'm going to assume it's not 1,200 nautical miles away. It's going to be this one, 120 miles away. Just going to insert that to save it as we go. So we got Giuseppe says, in Perth, insert the wind before you insert block fuel and weight center of gravity. Last time I tried, there was a small bug that doesn't calculate performance. Okay, insert the wind before you insert the block fuel. Okay, I will make sure to do that. Right. GPS primary, there we go. So it should have already sorted itself out on a line, but we will check that shortly. So Tango Romeo November, Airways, upper mic, 89. Really great feature they've added where the simulator blanks out the things that aren't available yet. I think that's amazing. Really handy because it's all in the right place now. It's just not all modeled yet, which just makes it less confusing, especially for someone like me who I rely on. You know, I use the MCDU a lot, obviously, but it's funny when you're away from it, you can't really picture it. It's just something you use so much. It's just part of your life. So can I put in the real Airbus? It won't let me do this. Niven direct Aluva. You can't do directs like this, but if I type that in, no. Oh, maybe it will. No, it won't. Yes, very good. Yeah, they got that right. It's a bugbear of mine. I wish it did let us do that because I think it'd be much easier. So Aluva is our next point, which is the start of our arrival into Bergen. So we're nearly there, guys. That's nearly the flight plan done. My goodness, 450 people viewing. That's absolutely a new record. So thank you all for coming along. I hope you're enjoying it. We will get there, I promise. And let's stick in our arrival now just to get some sort of reasonable routing. Planning on RS35. Not whiskey, it'll be the Zulu. If they have one. Oh, they don't have one. Okay. RS35 whiskey. Unusual. Normally the Zulu is the most common. Alexander Pizzuto, good to see you. Says hello. My favourite Airbus friend from sunny 28 degrees in Bridgetown. You made it to Bridgetown. Alexander Pizzuto is a pilot who flies, I believe, the 777 at the moment, who's just made it all the way to Bridgetown and is enjoying some nice weather, which is not the case here in the UK, as you can imagine. Although it wasn't too bad today, just cold. I don't know how it is for the rest of you all around the world. I'm sure there's people in all sorts of places. I did put it in, it does not show it. Oh, okay. Oh, maybe I made a mistake then. The Aluv arrival, we're going to retune that as we get near the other end anyway. Let's just check that hasn't done anything twice. Nope, that looks good. So that's our flight plan. Secondary flight plan is not modelled. Diff Sir R. So RadNav now. Now, I think I've been really clever here, and I think I can show you the charts, which, as many of you will know, will mean that I will almost certainly forget to make it, to get rid of it off the screen when the time comes. So I'm just going to show you the Rotev departure, which is what we're going to fly today. I've got the Rotev. What did I write down? I'm expecting the Rotev 1 Bravo. Rotev 1 Bravo. Where's the Rotev 1 Bravo? I do miss the having the really handy. That's the 1 Alpha. What did we put in? Having the handy iPad built into the simulator like I've got in X-Plane. You do get used to these things. Roger, I said 1 Alpha. I don't know why I wrote down 1 Bravo. 1 Alpha. Okay, I've got the 1 Alpha. So fingers crossed this works. Let's be really clever. I need more screens. Hopefully you can see the departure now. So we are going to take off, runway 28, out to the Oscar Echo. If I check the flight plan in the MCDU, which you guys can't see now, that's not good. Anyway, I can see that I'm going to go via Oscar Echo, then a right turn up to Delta Whiskey 029, and then up to Rotev. And if I get rid of the charts, you can see Oscar Echo, Delta Whiskey 029, Rotev. So that works. So I suppose the only thing I could tune in RadNav is the Oscar Echo, the 316 NDB. Put that in ADF1. There it is. Right. So I'm going to have that displayed over here. I'm going to set that little dial there. So ADF1 316 is tuned. Starting to look pretty reasonable. Good stuff. Right, quick jump into the chat. Just because I've missed so many things. What have I got here? Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry for all the questions I've missed. Like I say, I'll definitely get back to it more. So we're going to put the wind in first to make sure that works. Okay, great stuff. Right, okay. Anyway, what was it? Control 5. Oh, look at that. It's starting to come together. Not sure why that's flicking. Sometimes it was... There you go, Oscar Echo. It's found the ident. It's just struggling. Right, RadNav. Finally then, init B. So let's put in a wind component first. I think I'm going to have a wind component of -2. Hardly anything. Nothing wrong with doing the trip wind like this. So a headwind of 2. So I put in -2 and it appears there and it will take it into account. Now I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I've got this airplane loaded correctly. I want a zero fuel weight of around about 56.9. Okay, that's not bad. CG's very forward, 16.6. Block fuel. Oh, does it work with block fuel? Let's see, what have we got on board? 8 tons, which is what I wanted. 8.0. Brilliant. Takeoff weight 64.5. I wanted that about right. Yeah, okay. Not bad, not bad. Alternate fuel is in. So this is great. So we've got predicted extra time of 2.9. The reason is I've taken block fuel. I required 7 tons, 7.1 actually. Then I added a ton. And it's also, that was based on a normal 320, not a NEO. So yeah, Fly24, good to see you. Fly24 did that intro music, to those of you wondering. So do please visit Fly24's channel. It's fantastic music, and he has very kindly done the intro music. He does the outro music. So yeah, used many times in various forms on the channel, including our new rock outro version, which we will see a bit later on. ADF is what we use to tune in NDBs. So that is targeting an NDB. Rare these days. They're much rarer than they used to be. Sorry about that. Drinking my tea live on stream. That's not good. I've got a massive cup of tea to get through and it's going to go ice cold soon. Right, RadNav and init B we've done. Very important page in init B. You want to make sure these weights are correct and then they need to match your performance. So finally, diff. So data init flight plan. Secondary RadNav init B. We're up to the diffs RIP Papa performance. Here we go. 28 left. I don't know why it says that. Let's do a flat 1 takeoff. Let's do a flex of 60 degrees. 20 degrees you can't have. It's too low, as I've said before. And the magic of the fly-by-wire mod, we can just pump in these numbers like this. And there we go. Reasonable numbers for a flat 1 takeoff. Transition altitude, I'm sure, is lower. It would actually be on our chart if I bring that up. Transition altitude. Oh, no, these charts are slightly different to what I'm used to. Where is it written? Oh no, maybe it is 10,000. Maybe I'm talking nonsense because our initial clearance is... Oh no, it must be lower because our initial clearance is to flight level 90. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet. There we go. So to those of you wondering how I got that, let's bring it up properly. Charts. And there it is. It says... Zoom in for you. Transition altitude 5,000. The transition altitude doesn't change depending on the day. It's only the transition level that changes, which is in the descent. The altitude is for the way up. So at 5,000 feet, after that we have to go to flight levels. Right, that is the MCDU set up finally. Apologies for the delay. So I need to put up our cleared altitude on that departure. This is where our traffic will give me something totally different, I'm sure. It looks like initial climb is flight level 90. So is there which control brings us to the FCU? There we go. Oh, if we can get good at that, that'll be much better. Make my life a lot easier. Let's go for 90. There we go. We leave it on QNH until we're in the air, and then we'll pull that to set standard. Great stuff. Great stuff. This is this mod has just changed everything. It's so different now using this this simulator. Right, where are we at with the process now? So we've got the APU, we've got the air on. Now the pushback is the next issue, because I'm so used to using X-plane pushback. We've got the fuel. I think it's time we can run a checklist. DGM486 says, I've learned so much from your videos and tutorials. Brilliant to learn the small things that you share about real Airbus operations. Thank you. No, thank you, DGM. That's really kind of you. Thank you for coming along to the stream and for watching. Thank you for your $9.99 donation. I really appreciate it. It really helps the channel. And yeah, I'm just so chuffed that the videos have helped so many of you to get used to the Airbus. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, amazing. And yeah, as Richard says, 466 viewers. That's mad. Amazing. What is the point of brewing tea if not to let it sit there? I agree. Tesla Kayak, I absolutely agree. Gotta leave it sitting there. Ollie has summed up. Oh yeah, NDB, non-directional beacon. VOR is VHF, omnidirectional range. So the NDB is called non-directional beacon because you literally it just transmits and you can just point towards it. Yeah, it doesn't have a DME attached to it either, so you can't take a distance from it normally. Okay. Let me think. Is it time to run any of these? Which checklist are we up to on this one? I do have my own sort of generic checklist that I usually have ready to go. So takeoff briefing. Let's run through our charts just to make sure we have an idea of what we're doing. Now, Dublin has a fantastic amount of charts. So I'll show you guys like this. Here we go. Okay, so we are going to take off on runway 28, I suspect. That's their most popular runway here. We're in an Aer Lingus livery. So lucky for us, we're parked down on the posh stands. We're in this apron here, right next to the departure runway. If you've ever been to Dublin with another airline, you've probably been up here, and then you end up in a queue trying to get down here. They do sometimes use this runway as a taxiway as well, so you end up sitting here on the other runway, ready to go and take off on 28. Yeah, so short taxi out. Be careful of the different links. Link 1, Link 2, Alpha, Bravo 2, Echo 1. So loads of different holding points. Really easy to get confused, so we'll take it really slow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a lot of my checks before we actually taxi. So we'll push back, start engines, and then we'll get that ready to go. Then we're going to head out, take off, and make our right turn north on that departure. The departure, Rotev 1 Alpha, as we said, no great shakes there. Quite a low MSA, just 2,400 feet. So we're going to be climbing straight to flight level 90, no issues, and then en route. We do have air traffic control, so I will speak to them very shortly and get our clearance. Right. Let's see. ATIS 124525. Is this going to work? Like this is a big test actually for my setup. If you guys can hear the ATIS as well, so do let me know if this works. In fact, we can be even cleverer. What am I doing? I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. Because we're on VATSIM now, I should be able to go AOC, ATIS, no, wrong airport. Let's have Dublin, please. EIDW, departure ATIS, send. The real aircraft, if you have it all initialized properly, works even better. Yeah, so I should also do this, but I'm worried that will delete everything now. I don't want to do that and have it wipe everything in the... It wouldn't in the real aircraft, but I don't know if it would in this context. Anyway, you guys will know more than me. Crossing Moon, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so ATIS is downloaded, received messages. ATIS, it would normally print out, little printer here, it comes out on a piece of paper, but we can read it. This is Dublin information. Expect RLS runway 28 left in use, 28 left in use, so that makes sense. Wind is 2808 knots, so nice light headwind, visibility good, clouds are just few at 1000. Okay, great, so we got information Romeo. So now, when we call up Dublin, we can just say, well, we've got Romeo, we're ready to go. So I'll tell them Romeo and the QNH, which is... Oh, I could have scrolled down. Now, that's not normal. It doesn't do that. In the real aircraft, to make sure that doesn't happen, it would say 1/2, and then you could scroll or go to the next page to see the next page. You wouldn't scroll like this because the risk is you won't see the rest of it. Right, QNH 1005. There we go. That's what we need to tell our traffic. They'll be very interested in that. It's very cold, 0 degrees. Ooh, could be de-icing almost. Right. Let's give ourselves, let's give the first call. Exciting times. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, Crossing Moon. Good to see you. Okay, so we've got 2 different Dublin towers. That's they're all on 1186, no problem. Okay, 1186. Find the radio that I'm slightly more used to. I thought 1740 would be taking off, but we're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there, and then we'll be underway, and I can answer much more of your questions. Apologies, it's taking so long.
Ready, copy. Starboard 42 Romeo Delta.
Starboard 42 Romeo Delta. After departure, tracking runway extended center line. Stop climb altitude 4,000 feet.
After departure, extended center line 4,000. Starboard 42 Romeo Delta.
Just gonna remember my call sign 242.
Starboard 42 Romeo Delta. Read back correct. Advise ready for departure.
We're fully ready. We'll be ready.
And this does happen a lot, where you end up just waiting for people to talk. And Dublin ground, Shamrock 242, 320 NEO, QNH 1005 with information Romeo, request clearance for Bergen. I've forgotten which stand I'm on.
Sorry, last station, that was box second.
Shamrock 242 is a 320 NEO, QNH 1005, request clearance for Bergen.
Shamrock 242, Dublin Tower, good evening, clear to Bergen on the Rotev 1 Alpha departure, runway 28 left, squawk 6612, frequency after departure, Dublin Control 129.175.
Cleared to Bergen, Rotev 1 Alpha from runway 28 left, squawk 6612, after departure 129.175, Shamrock 242.
Shamrock 242, read back correct.
Okay, there we go. So first thing we're going to do is put in the squawk. And now I'm going to have to admit that I clearly haven't been to Dublin recently enough, because I didn't realise they were now runway 28 left. It was always just 28. So that was interesting. Yeah, they must have changed. So I've been talking nonsense, complaining about it. Flight plan, we have runway 28 left, Rotev 1 Alpha. It would also say the departure here normally for us.
And then right up the Sierra.
403 is a stand. Oh, there we go. Bacon Warrior, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Airbus Captain, good to see you as well. Thanks for coming along. That livery, I really like this livery. I do.
Right and then right
I
up the
do, I
Sierra.
must admit. 512 viewers, my goodness. Okay, so what else do we need to do? We've got the clearance, we've got the flight level.
Dublin Tower, very good
Time
evening.
to get pushed up.
187 radio check, please.
Shamrock 187, stand by, break, Gulf, Romeo 88, clear for takeoff, runway 28 left, surface wind 280 degrees 8 knots.
403, thank you for the prompt on the stand.
Takeoff, 28 left, Gulf, Romeo 88.
Shamrock 242, request push and start, stand 403.
Shamrock 242, Dublin Tower, Roger, stand by.
Stand by, no problem. We don't read that back. If they say stand by, you just go quiet.
Starboard 42 Romeo Delta behind the departing Cirrus SR22, line of wait, runway 28 left
Yeah,
behind.
they're quite busy.
Roger, behind the departing Cirrus.
403, yeah, thanks for that. That's great.
Left behind. Starboard 42 Romeo
28,
Delta.
of course, there's going to be 28 right on the north side. That's up there. That's why they're going to swap and have 28 left and right. Of course. Thank you very much. Good spot.
Dublin Tower, Shamrock 212.
Adam E, good to see you. Glad you're enjoying the stream.
Correct, gate 3.
Shamrock 2121, Roger, stand by.
Nico Law says, is your transport in stand?
Shamrock 242, push and start is approved, tug release point November. Correction, tug release point Hotel, Dublin QNH 1005 hectopascals.
Push shot approved to tug release point Hotel, QNH 1005, Shamrock 242. Okay. Right, that's going to be fun. Oh, apologies to you guys. Right, let's see if we can find tug release point Hotel together. As ever, the ground is the hardest part. Hotel, that's way out there. How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that?
Backtrack 34 to 8 left, hold short,
God.
right at 26.
That's going to be hard. That is going to be hard.
Starboard 42 Romeo Delta, I don't know if I gave it to you already, but anyway, clear for takeoff, runway 28 left, surface wind 280 degrees 8 knots.
Clear takeoff.
Oh boy. Right, let's have a think. Well, let's do our checklist first anyway. We're cleared to go. So a few things we're going to do. We're going to get our red anti-collision light beacon on. We're going to get the thrust levers to idle, check the windows and doors are all closed.
Left whiskey 2,
And then I'm going to bring up my checklist. And I really apologise. I missed Steve W. Sven W. Thank you very much for your donation. That's really appreciated. Really kind of you. Sven says, thanks for the great tutorials, they really help. I'm really glad, Sven. I really appreciate it.
Dublin
Thanks for
Tower,
coming
very
along
good
to the
evening,
stream, and thank you for your
187
contributing to the channel.
312.
It makes a huge difference. And I'm sorry you caught me at such a
A320
busy
NEO,
moment.
information
Right,
runway
before
on
start
board,
checklist, cockpit prep is
1805,
completed.
requesting
Gear
clearance
pins and
departure.
covers are all removed. Signs
Shamrock 187 Dublin Tower,
on
Roger, stand by,
and
break, Shamrock
auto.
2121 after the company,
ADIS
A320
are
NEO
in
on
nav.
402.
Fuel quantity, we got
approaching push.
8 tons. And
Your push and start is approved
balance.
to tug release point November.
takeoff data is set, and
After,
the BARF is set.
company
He said 1005
A320,
actually, so let's do that properly. 1005. And performance is set in there, and on the PFD, windows, doors closed, beacon on, mobile phones off, thrust levers idle, parking brake is set. Okay, right, here we go.
Shamrock 187 cleared to Charles de Gaulle.
Thrust reversal pushback, yeah, that could be it. Husker 66, good. Thank you for coming on. I hope you're doing well. This is the latest update. This is the development version of the mod. I always keep it as up to date as I can. We're using VATSIM for the ATC.
Cleared for departure 28 left via departure 5 Alpha departure squawk.
No problem. I'll just turn down the audio. It sounds like it's a bit loud.
179.175.
Let me do that for you guys. You guys let me know if that's okay. Hopefully I'm a bit quieter now. Right, we've got to figure this out. We've got to figure this out. Dear. This is a good question. How are you supposed to do that?
Takeoff 28 left rider 2607.
Maybe if we use... Oh, it's going to tune my radios. That's no good. Alright. This is something I need to fix for future streams. Good lesson. We're just going to go straight back for now. We've already done a NITB. Indeed we have. Actually, I have an idea. Let's see if we can cheat our way out of this. I have an idea.
Okay, sorry, broke up there. So just run a 537.
We're going to tell them we have no radio comms with the ground crew, so we need a straight pushback. They'll put us in the back of the queue, but that's no problem because I won't be able to get myself out to hotel.
Hey, then. Okay, cheers, 537.
Ground Shamrock 242. Apologies. We haven't got two-way comms with the ground crew. Can we have a straight pushback when it's available? Or we don't mind waiting if there's someone else who wants to go first.
Shamrock 242, no worries. We all know the struggle.
Thanks. So would you like me to hold position or push now?
Shamrock 242, if you push now, that'll help me out a lot, please.
Okay, pushing now, and we'll do a straight push, Shamrock 242. Okay.
Contact 972.
I would apologise for this 10 times over. AP, €5 donation, very kind of you. AP says, thanks for all the tutorials, learned a lot. Also, I have to turn on mode Charlie in VPilot because apparently TCAS on auto does not work in FS 2020. Okay, thanks for letting me know. That's good to know. Yeah, because that also needs to be turned on at this point. But, oh, there we go. We'll put it to, we'll try it on. Auto would be normal, actually. Get that brake released. Wouldn't do that until they're connected, but I want to just make sure this doesn't go wrong. Yeah, we need pushback helper for 2020. I agree. Thanks for the tip, definitely. Right, let's not mess around then.
Contact 972, you were broken there. Just confirm your readout for me.
Get rid of the charts for you guys. Let's get those engines started. So, normal page. Set that to ignition. Starting engine 2. We've got pressure. Start the timer. I can't believe all these features work now.
Contact 972, your microphone has gone static again. You can just fix that and get back to me. Break. Shamrock 2121, that company is now doing a straight push. Are you
very kind of the controllers.
On to stand 400, pretty much a straight push from your position.
Oh, there we go. That's the other traffic there. I'm glad that the controllers had sympathy for us.
Unable, I think it's better for us just to wait.
Shamrock 2121, roger, your push and start clearance is cancelled. We'll call you back.
Glorious. Right, I think that's good enough. They'll call us now to tell us to set the brake, so we'll do that. NEO engines start up very quickly when they're cold, and these are cold engines.
972, readback is correct. If you could just try and turn your microphone
Should
up
see
as well
the
now.
available appearing soon.
We'll go contact 972 and request you push start.
Let me see if I can get back to the correct window. There it is. I've missed so much in chat. I do apologise, guys. Avail. There we go. That's available. So, starting engine 1. The ground crew are disappearing out the window, so we would wave them off. In Scandinavia, you get pushback like this quite regularly, just sort of not even all the way to the taxiway.
7, sorry, did I give you the clearance already?
Alan Story, £5 donation. Hi, sorry I'm late. Just finished a flight from Hong Kong to Beijing. Oh, fantastic. No problem at all. Alan, thank you for coming along. Yeah, great to see you here. And thank you so much for your support as ever and your £5 donation. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Alan. I hope you're doing very well this evening. This is exciting times, really, going into this. They are very shiny wings indeed. Hello from Sweden to AG Place. There you go. In Sweden is a place where you'd get a pushback that looks just like this, even if it's snowing outside. Didn't make the sim sound a bit louder. I have a slight... I will try that once we get underway. I'll try that shortly. So yeah, sorry for the delay. I don't want to get kicked from VATSIM. But yeah, if I make the sim louder for you, it will actually make air traffic louder again. Alright, that's available. As soon as that says available, back to norm. APB can come off. Master switch can come off.
Contract 972, push and start is approved.
Then we're going to arm the spoilers for takeoff. We're going to set those flaps to 1, reset the rudder trim to 0, and I believe our trim is incredibly far forwards. Fuel prediction says 16.6. Yikes, that is far forward. Yeah, okay. Well, here we go then. I'm not entirely convinced that's going to be a good idea. I mean, that's even slightly outside the limit. I'm going to leave that at 0 just because I'm not entirely convinced about that CG. Okay, there we go. Right, let's run through the after start checklist. Anti-ice is off. ECAM status. We're looking down here. We want to make sure there's no STS display. There's not, so the ECAM is happy. So that's checked. Pitch trim is set. Rudder trim to 0. Great stuff. Let's do... Well, I was going to do flight controls before taxiing, but as there's people waiting for us, Shamrock 242 request taxi. I think we'll definitely taxi out the way. Someone landing?
242, taxi link 2, Foxtrot 1, Echo 1, hold short runway test and report fully ready for departure.
Link 2, Foxtrot 1, Echo 1, hold short 28 left, Wilco, Shamrock 242. There you go, exactly the sort of clearance that I warned us about earlier. So let's get those lights on. Let's bring up our chart. Now this is quite hard now because I have to keep doing two different clicks. Right, so we're on November. We've been cleared Foxtrot 1. So we're going to go out, second left down Foxtrot 1, and then we're going to hold at Echo 1 using... where's Link 2? Link 2 out to Foxtrot 1. Okay, no problem. We can do that. Good stuff. Right, let me just rearrange my desk. Because I've made a complete mess. Okay. Parking brake is released. It rolls forward. That's just like the real aircraft these days. And we'll go. We'll do a brake check once we're around the corner. Hayden J. Robbins is walking to the shop. Excellent. 550 viewers. Madness. Yeah, thank you all for coming along.
And then right onto Sierra.
Take right onto Sierra.
Glorious. Thank you. Outside, I'm getting about 50 frames a second while streaming, which is not bad, but inside I'm down in the 20s.
Once the company 320 NEO is passed on your left-hand side, your push and start is approved, facing south.
Okay, so we're following those lights out, and if any of you have seen my taxi tutorial, I talk about what we're going to do here. We're going to follow these signs. So link 2, and then Foxtrot will be the left turn. Absolutely, I promise I will get back into the chat a bit more when we get into flight. It's just, yeah, so many of you today. Thank you all for coming along. Right, let's do some flight controls while we move. Well, actually, no, we're not going to do those. He said report ready.
468, do you understand? Perfect.
So let's get out of here and then report ready when we can. Alright, so this is link 2. Then we're going to go left. I can see link 2 because it's the black sign there. Left down to Echo 1. Amazing graphics. My frame rate is certainly struggling. It's the fly-by-wire mod is definitely heavy on the frame rate. Let's put that display on. I've made it slightly earlier in the day just so you guys can see it's live weather but not live air traffic. Did you set glass screens refresh to low? No, I didn't actually. That would probably help a lot.
263 hotel, confirm squawk 6655.
6655 for 263 hotel.
Right, Echo 1. We want to get the right holding point. I can see the stop bar there. I don't want to spend too long there, so let's ding dong the cabin crew. There we go. So they should know that we are ready to go.
Dublin Tower, sorry for the step one. Walker 392 is ready for taxi.
Right, parking brake is set. Let's do some flight controls. Let's get ourselves ready here. So, full left, full right, neutral, full down, full up, neutral, and then the rudder, full left, full right, neutral. So that is pretty much our flight controls done. We're going to also have our radar set to, this is a very old radar and it doesn't really work, so I'm not going to get too upset, but WX plus T, I mean, yeah, this is not what you'd see on a NEO. We're going to set our transponder to TARA for takeoff. We're going to have maximum auto brake ready to go, and we're going to do the ECAM takeoff config. We're going to check that we've got brake max armed. That's not really on the 320s, but there we go. Brake max and climb nav blue are all armed because they're blue. Same with the 9,000 feet, which will become a flight level when we're in the air. Flight directors 1 and 2 are working. Got our speeds loaded in. Got our route on there. Taking off out to the Oscar Echo. Get rid of that timer. Right, before takeoff checklist, flight controls have been checked, flight instruments are checked, briefing confirmed, flap setting, config 1+F green on there, and I would have the performance page here because I'm pilot flying. Pilot monitoring would have the flight plan page, almost certainly. But I think they're connected. But anyway, flap 1 in there, so that's what we're expecting to use. FMA and takeoff, we've got 131, 136, brake max, climb nav blue, 152 and 9,000 feet becoming a flight level. Transponder is set to TARA. ECAM memo is takeoff no blue, so it's all green. Cabin is secured for takeoff, helpfully on the ECAM memo here, a great feature. Engine mode select, normal. It's not a contaminated runway, so we don't need that on for any reason. There's no heavy rain. TCAS is TARA. PAX is going to stay on for this takeoff. We want as much air going through the cabin these days, helps keep everything fresh for people, for obvious reasons, in 2020. TARA is traffic advisory and resolution advisory. We'll talk about that once we're underway. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is turn on some more lights as we enter the runway, and we're pretty much ready to go. So let's tell the tower who are waiting for us. I don't know if we're blocking anyone yet. Nope, there's just the other Shamrock coming out soon. Shamrock 242 ready for departure.
Shamrock 242, thanks. Clear for takeoff, runway 28 left, surface wind 280 degrees, 8 knots.
Clear for takeoff, 28 left, Shamrock 242. Fantastic, we are cleared for takeoff. Let's do it. So, get all these lights on. I want to be as visible as possible as we enter the runway. Takeoff on the nose light. Some airlines will give a signal to the cabin crew, so maybe a ding-dong or something into the cabin. Not all airlines. We've got no red bar in front of us, and then we're going to look on the approach. Always, always, always look on the approach. Slightly harder with this runway because of the angle we're approaching it at, but no problem. And we're going to check on the right that no one's accidentally coming down the other way. We're already cleared for takeoff, so we don't need to stop on the runway. We just need to spool up and go when we're happy. Don't want to waste runway doing that. But also, really important in Dublin, make sure you get the right runway. Look at all these thresholds intersecting with each other.
6653, frequency after departure, Dublin control 129.
Right, here we go. Frame rate struggling. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can see PAX on the memo because I'm using the PAX while taking off. Okay, let's go. So start the chrono. Stabilize the thrust at 50%. Half side stick down. There it is. And off we go. Man, flex 50 SRS from runway. Order thrust is blue and armed. A bit more side stick needed. 80 to 100 knots, releasing the side stick to neutral.
Dublin Tower, good evening.
Nice flap 1 takeoff. I do like taking off flap 1. Probably my favourite flap for takeoff. V1, rotate through the little blue donut. Off we go. Alright, positive climb, gear up. This is very twitchy at this point in the Microsoft. It's not this twitchy, the real aircraft. And by this point you can let go of the side stick and it will do it for you. I'm not going to follow that flight director because I know I don't want to turn to the right just yet.
Good evening, Lufthansa 227, Papa requesting IFR.
Away we go, we're on the way to Bergen finally. How long did that take us? An hour, not bad. I suspect it wants us to go right just to intersect that line, so let's do that. Okay, lever climb. It wouldn't go to MCT like that. There we go, thrust climb, climb. Auto thrust. Lower the nose and start accelerating. So when it flashes lever climb at you, that's when you bring the thrust levers from, they were, I can show you, they were in flex and now they're in climb. Hopefully that doesn't change throughout the flight. So now we're accelerating. Once we're above the green S, I'll bring those flaps to 0. There's the green S, flaps to 0. Looking good. Out blue 9,000 is now armed, so it's going to level off at 9,000 feet as per our departure, but we need to level off at a flight level, so I'm going to pull standard now. Flight level 90.
You're flying to
The next frequency was 129.175. Oh, it's turning early. Oh dear, that's not going to go down well. That's very early. It wouldn't turn that early. Hopefully they don't mind. Right, now the flaps are at 0. We can disarm the ground spoilers and turn off the lights. These lights here, the turn-offs and the taxi light, are on the nose wheel, so we don't need them. Glorious simulator as ever. There we go. On the way now.
Frequency after departure will be a Dublin control.
Brian says auto frequency change. Thank you very much, Brian. Good spot. So what that means is they expect you to just contact them when you're in the air. So I need to get on that. 129.175. Some airports do that.
What was the frequency of Lufthansa 227 Papa?
I'm sure it doesn't take this long to scroll in the real airplane. Okay, here's departure. Climbing very fast, so let's slow that rate of climb down. Let's do a vertical speed. It's too fast. I want it to be sort of 1,500 feet per minute as I get this close. Dublin departure, Shamrock 242, climbing flight level 90 to Rotno. Was it Rotno? Rotev.
Shamrock 242, Dublin Control. Hello, radar identified. Climb flight level 230, direct to Rotev and free speed.
Sorry, yes, Rotev. Direct to Rotev with free speed. And could you confirm the flight level, please, Shamrock 242?
Shamrock 242, climb flight level 230.
Flight level 230, Shamrock 242. Thank you. Fantastic. So let's turn up these bright. If these are too dim for you, these little dials underneath are what you need. And we're going to wind up. I'm going to set that back to 1,000 to make it easier for myself. All the way up to 230. There we go. Now, I'm going to check that's there. 230 is armed. As soon as you do that in the real aircraft, it would stop. It wouldn't go into outstar anymore. But anyway, let's pull that. Oh, excuse me. Thrust climb, open climb, out blue 230. I'm going to wind up this. After takeoff checklist then, landing gear is up. Funnily enough, the landing gear up is the one thing you can't see on this screen. It doesn't really appear, so easily missed. It has happened. Trust me, it has happened. So landing gear up. Flaps retracted. They are. Packs are both on. That's the air conditioning packs. We didn't turn them off. The reason that's in the checklist is because we could have turned them off for takeoff. Barrier F, we are on standard. That's the after takeoff checklist complete. Through 10,000 feet now, so let's turn off the landing lights because they are out in the airflow. And let's see if they're animated. I haven't actually checked. Yes, they are. So this one is hopefully going to fold away. It's turned off anyway, and this one is still out. But yeah, they stick out into the airflow, so let's get those. Oh, no, not that way. Down, 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 down. There we go. Those are retracted. As we pass 10,000 feet now, the nose is below 10 degrees, so I'm going to turn the seatbelt signs off. If you're still climbing at a high rate of climb, you don't want to turn the seatbelt signs off with a high angle, like 10 degrees, because it would just make a complete mess as they try and do the trolleys and things like that. Dougal, thank you so much for coming along, Dougal. I'm sorry if I've missed any messages, but enjoy your dinner. Was it stew today? I've forgotten now, but enjoy, and we'll see you again later. Thanks for coming, Dougal.
Shamrock 104 established to the now 28 left.
William, hello to you. Thanks for coming along.
Shamrock 104, continue the approach, runway 28 left, the wind 280 degrees, 8 knots, call the tower 1186, see ya.
1186, continue approach.
Just getting a message from Control.
Happy New Year.
Dublin Control, Shamrock 2121, climbing 6,000 for 9,000.
Excellent. On the way then, climbing up to 230. Terrain radar's on, but it's not got much to show. It would normally show us water and things like that, so let's get that range out, get a bit of a better view. As I said, guys, we're going to cruise up at flight level 370 today, and I'll get a chance to chat to you a bit better. Now let's go and enjoy some of the glorious... Which one is it? Is it 10? No. Oh, fantastic.
Ryanair 1 Papa Golf, continue descent altitude 3,000 feet. Best rate, please.
3,000 feet and best rate for Ryanair 1 Papa Golf.
AP says, aren't you supposed to start engine 1 first? No, engine 2 is normally started first, especially if you're doing 2 engine. This has been a big topic. Apparently in America they start engine 1 first. These days with modern aircraft it doesn't make much difference, but in Europe we nearly always start engine 2 first, unless you're going to taxi out on 1 engine, in which case you might start engine 1 first. Because if you're taxiing on single engine, you can only use engine 1. You can't use engine 2 on its own.
Tower, Shamrock 187 with you, passing through.
I was going to talk about TARA, absolutely. So TARA is talking about the TCAS system. It's a traffic and resolutionary advisory. So you can have your TCAS set to TA only, and it will simply give you traffic alerts. It will just tell you where they are. RA is a resolution advisory, and that is going to actually guide you where it wants you to go. So it will tell you to climb or descend. It won't tell you to turn, just climb or descend. And the other aeroplane will get the same. You have to then climb or descend at a certain rate, and it shows up on the screen, and that way you won't get too close to each other. That's what the TCAS does. So we don't turn that on until we're pretty much in the air. It is a great system. As long as you follow it, you won't conflict with each other. If air traffic tell you something different, you ignore it. You do the TCAS's instruction. Always, always, always. The other thing with TCAS in the NEO is the NEO can actually fly it on its own, so you can leave the autopilot in and just monitor it to make sure it does it. Right, just jumping into the chat just to see any direct questions. Hopefully I didn't miss any donations there. That's very kind of you guys. Pushback Express is the best. Okay, so different few pushback things we definitely need. Yeah, 16.6 is out of limits. Yeah, that's not right, CG. I'm not convinced that was what it was. We're 600 viewers, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you're enjoying the video, do please like.
242, shortly leaving my airspace. Scottish has bailed out, I'm afraid. Monitor Unicom 122.8. Take it easy.
No problem at all. Thank you so much for your help. 122.8 Shamrock 242. Goodbye. Fantastic. Now, I don't know why I keep accidentally waving the camera around like that. It must be something I have a habit of doing in X-Plane that doesn't work in Microsoft. So I do apologise. Right, 1228 for Unicom. There we go. That's already us up at flight level 230. No problem at all. Just so much power in these NEOs. I would at this point as well consider what's our recommended max. Flight level 390, optimum 390, cruising at 370. So I wouldn't go to 390. I wouldn't want to sit at the maximum. I want that to say 398, because if it says 398, that's the most it will ever show. So let's go up to 370 and pull. Wouldn't need to put it normally, but anyway, thrust climb, open climb. Off we go. Stop the clock. I don't know if any of you remember Pacific Rim. I say remember. To me, it's a brand new film, but it's one of my. Yeah, I think it's a great film, and they use that stop the clock. Anyway. Jeremy Mitchell says, interesting about the engine startup. On the small GA turboprop I fly, we start 2 first because the single cabin door is on the left and props can hurt if you have to get out fast. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, there's all sorts of reasons these things happen like this. The reason on the Airbus is that the... not sure why I'm getting radio in noise. The reason is the hydraulic system is powered from... The parking brake is powered from... Or the brake system powered by engine 2 first. But for taxiing you need engine 1. So that's why if you do single engine taxi you use engine 1. If you just start up we start 2, but it's more traditional than a requirement. Nothing terrible would happen if you started engine 1 and then engine 2. It doesn't really make a difference, because during the pushback without engines you would use the accumulator when it came time to set the brake anyway. Mr. Espresso, very kind, €5.49 donation. I really appreciate it. Happy to watch your first full live stream on VATSIM with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Thank you for coming along, Mr. Espresso. Mr. Espresso has been a long-time supporter and viewer of the channel. I really appreciate it, and that's such a kind contribution again, Mr. Espresso. So thank you so much. And yeah, it is exciting. Here we are, finally doing it in Microsoft. I mean, I built a computer in time for the Microsoft Flight Simulator release, so the channel could get the videos out, but we haven't been able to stream it really until I was confident that we wouldn't run into too many issues or updates suddenly happening like this roll that we're starting to get. Could just be turbulence though. 54 knots, yeah, it's a breezy day. All across though, which is good, so our flight planning is roughly accurate. We're not expecting much of a headwind, or we'll soon start having concerns about time and fuel. The radio noise is on V pilot, says John Stanley. Okay, thank you, John. Thanks for that. But yeah, thank you for your donation, Mr. Espresso. I really appreciate it, and thanks for your support. Right. How do you know the A320 the top of descent? Oh, my chat's moving so fast I'm missing things. Do apologise. Where's that question gone? I've lost the question. Well, top of descent on the Airbus shows up with a little arrow. See, we get a blue arrow here, which shows us top of climb, and the top of descent should show up with a down arrow, so an arrow going down. So that's like a level off arrow because it goes up and then levels off. The down will go down, but we'll see that as we get closer to our actual top of descent ourselves. Yeah, I'm going to go to airport on here, and it gives me a bit of situational awareness about the airports around us. Obviously not many, it seems. That can't be right, but luckily we can cheat. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be loading in because obviously there's I suppose it's a relatively quiet part of the world for airports. So yeah, we'll get up into the climb. I'll answer a few more questions. We'll set up our arrival and yeah, talk about the long haul stream I'm going to do soon. How do you know in the A320 the top of climb says Felipe? That was the question. It's usually on the MFD. Yeah, so the top of climb is that blue arrow there. That tells me when we'll level off. After the most recent update, the climb performance of the 320 dropped heavily, but seems okay here. Thanks. Yeah. When was the most recent update? I haven't updated today, if that's an issue. Yeah, 1,400 feet per minute, 290 knots. That's pretty good. That's a good rate of climb, I'd say. But the Neos do have good rate of climb. Carl Venn, viewing from Canada. Fantastic. I hope you're doing well over in Canada. I've been watching old series of Ice Pilots, which I do enjoy. That looks very cold, so I hope you're doing well in Canada this winter. Nick Gregory says that ATC have access to your flight plan. How do you know when you contact them? Only if there is a collision and changing airspace. Thank you. Are you talking about in the simulator, Nick? Because in the simulator, the VATSIM areas that are controlled, they can see me coming and they see my flight plan, which I filed before the stream, and then they will contact me through a little message box to tell me. But the in real life, yeah, your flight plan gets filed by your airline, and then you can. Oh, look at that, glorious! Bit turbulent though. Yeah, if you were rocking around like that, you'd soon feel it. So yeah, so it's all handled out of your hands, and air traffic control will pass you to controller, so they'll contact you and say, right, contact this next frequency. And in Europe, you'll be in contact with somebody the whole time. Malin, thanks for coming along. Says, got to go now, but I'll watch the rest of this later on, or if you're still flying once I get back. Happy flying. Thank you, Malin. Enjoy, and yeah, hopefully you get to see the end. Playda says, I was hoping you could help me with my little problem. When I select the approach in the MCDU during my descent, the aircraft turns around to the last waypoint. Do you know why? That sounds like a bug. There are a few bugs with the approach phases in the simulator, sadly. That's the only thing I can say about that for now. Yeah. How do I fly an RNAV in the Airbus? Jonathan Daniel, I have a video on my channel, so if you go to my channel page, there is an RNAV tutorial. I've got one in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I've got another one in the Toliss, which is a bit more accurate because it has a few more features. Oh, glorious. I love this about Microsoft Flight Simulator. I love the way the ground does look like the country you're flying over. If you fly over Ireland, that is what it's going to look like. It's called the Emerald Isle for an obvious reason. Yeah, glorious. Same for when you go to places further afield. Like you go to Italy, it looks like Italy out the window. How's the stream quality for you guys? Looks like it's working okay. It looks just about okay. AP says, have you tried managed descent in the NX mod? Does it even work? We'll find out. I'm going to confess to you guys, I've used this mod for my videos and tutorials. I haven't done many full flights. The main reason being, when I do a video, say on go-arounds or startup or an ILS, I don't set up long flights from the cruise because there's no way to sort of replay it and go back to where I was at the moment. So I tend to do short flights. So we'll find out. I haven't used it much, I must admit. Managed ascend, I could try now, but that would just be climb thrust. It would just be the same as what we're doing. The difference between climb and open climb is very minimal. So if I do that, it goes into climb, but it should just stay at climb thrust and then level off at whichever altitude I have set here. So even in climb, it should level off at this altitude Or if there was another restriction, let's say I had a restriction of 350 at Tango Romeo November, it would level off there before climbing to 370 and it would appear in magenta. But we don't have such restrictions today. Alexander Pasuto says, your favourite approach in real life? That's a good question. There's loads I enjoy. I like flying long procedures that come round and you get to sort of experience the whole thing. I don't know if any of you have seen on my channel, I've done a video into Alisund, one of my first videos. Alisund is spectacular in Norway. That's probably one of my favourites. But there's loads of great ones out there. Bush Pilots is a good watch. Yeah, there's a few good videos out there. Right, apologies guys for me missing any questions. No, I have not served in an Air Force. No, I'd love to have flown some fighter jets, but I have not, sadly. Thomas says, can you explain the weather radar? The weather radar is a tricky one. This, like I say, this is old. You wouldn't see this sort of radar on a NEO. It's saying, so the functions are mode. It says WX, which is just weather. WX plus T, weather and turbulence. Mode, just turbulence, map, and off. So I'm going to have it to weather and turbulence. That's where you would want it because you want to see the weather and obviously you want to see the turbulence. 1,000 feet to go. Let's just make sure it levels off. The reason it has the two functions is it can show you sort of where areas of turbulence are. There's no reason to just show that. You want to see everything. But anyway, it can't show you air turbulence in dry air like this. It relies on rain. So it only really works for storm clouds and things like that. Mac out star, so leveling off nicely. I can't believe this simulator works like this these days. It's fantastic. Although that no smoking memo shouldn't be there. I'm pretty sure that disappears. Or it appears on the right. No, I don't think it shows up anymore as long as it's in auto. Because you are assuming it should be on. Right, there's a few things we need to do when we level off, and then I'll have a little chat about the weather radar. First of all, I'm going to set that to VOR. No point looking at an NDB. And it would automatically tune loads of VORs, so the Airbus will always have a different VOR tuned. You wouldn't get a blank page like this. It will just tune them as it goes over them, trying to use them to navigate. So, for example, the Tango Romeo November VOR would be currently tuned almost certainly. Let's see it. It should go to out cruise. Mateo Chewy says, I love how you know how normal countries look from above. Well, normal people probably wouldn't. No, it's a funny thing. Yeah, it's just you just get used to it. So that looks like Scotland to me. You've got some of the higher grounds. You'd see some snow out there this time of year for sure. And oh, look at that. Absolutely glorious. I can't tell you how accurate that is, that view. It's amazing. An alternative, I wish we had contrails. I really do. Like I say, going to Italy, you can instantly tell you're in Italy. You get the different colour of house, different colour of roofs, even different colour of the roads, you know, different materials used. It's great fun. Right, out cruise. So once we get up here, we're going to set the TCAS traffic. Right, let's not mess this up. I'm going to set it to below. So what this does is it doesn't change what actually happens. It just shows you, oh, it doesn't work, below doesn't work. But you can change what it shows you on the screen. Now, it's not showing me anything, but if I set it to above or below, it's going to show me traffic above me by a range, so up to sort of, I think it's almost 10,000 feet above you. If I set it to below, it will show you almost 10,000 feet below you. But it won't stop it giving us the resolution advisory, which I mentioned earlier. So it's not a safety issue, it's just a situational awareness issue. It can help with that. Right, we're going to check all our systems. So let's have a look. Engines are still looking good. This oil quantity would have dropped when you started the engines. It wouldn't sit full like that because it gets sucked into the engines out of the reservoir. So that would have dropped by now. At first it drops a lot and then it starts to creep back up again as it warms up and sort of increases in volume. But very high pressure, nice temperatures, vibrations 1.9. That's pretty high vibration. Not a problem. If it was a problem in the real aircraft, you'd get a little advisory notice here. Sorry, no, here. Goodness me, which one is it? No, I think it's up here, the advisory. Status is down there. Or vice versa. But anyway, you hope not to see those very often. But yeah, it's 1.9 is fine. You hope it'd be a bit lower than that. That could be a bit of vibration. But sometimes you see it says vibration N1, and it might be quite high, but you might not hear or feel it. It's a very sensitive piece of technology, that. Anyway, all looking good. Bleed page, so this shows us that the intermediate pressure is pumping air into the cabins through the packs. That's all working. We've got 1 and 2 both working. The HP is the high pressure. When we go to low power at our start of descent, that valve will open to give us extra air to keep pressurizing the airplane as we start our descent, because the engines at low power won't have the same sort of oomph to give the pressure into the cabin. Now, I'm going through these pages. This is what we do on the real aircraft, but the reality is a lot of this you can't really you'd get a message here if there was an actual problem. It's just a little bit of situational awareness. For example, this is wrong. It says landing elevation auto, so it should automatically know the elevation at the airport we're landing at. It takes it from a database, so it knows Bergen is not 2,000 feet below sea level, but there it is. So that's wrong, but that's just a bug at the moment. Otherwise, I want to see this valve. That's about right. The valve sits there during the cruise and these vents close. This valve is not modelled, but it's the big one. You'll see it on aircraft. I think it's about there, just in front of this door. So we pump loads of air into the airplane, and then we let a little bit of it out, and that's how we pressurise it. So this is what we use to control that. Electrical page. Oh, they've got this modelled now. Now this is not quite right. This is just a sort of static image, but generator 2, generator 1, they'd both be on, and this line across here would not be there because generator 1 would be supplying this AC1 bus bar. These bus bars are connected to all the systems, so you want as many of them to be powered as possible. But yeah, not fully modelled. Hydraulic not modelled. Fuel looking good. So let's see, we've burnt almost a ton, which I would have thought so by now, which would give us a takeoff fuel of about 8 tons. So if I add the fuel used to the fuel I've got at the moment, they add up to 8 tons, which is what we started with. So we know there's no major problem there. I would also compare this to my flight plan and check that this fuel is enough to get us where we're going. APU should all be off. Amber crosses, good. It's not powered. It's condition 22 degrees. Yeah, that's quite a nice temperature. I sometimes quite like to have it a bit warm, especially in winter in the cockpit. Let's warm it up. Cheat. Because you can do that because cold air comes from the packs, and then this trim valve is used to adjust that temperature. So you can have separate temperatures across the airplane. Doors, yeah, slides mean they're armed. Great. Wheel page, 0 degrees. They wouldn't be 0 degrees. They'd be a bit warm from the taxi out, but still not bad. Flight controls are all good. Great stuff. So that's all looking pretty reasonable. Right, let me jump into the chat. I'm sure I've missed a whole load of things, so I do apologise to you guys. Right, Brokey says, yesterday when I fly, both my engines turned off and the game said press Control E to turn on. My engines wouldn't start and no warnings were displayed. Glitch? To be honest, I don't know. Probably a glitch, but it could be that you didn't have the right amount of fuel pumps perhaps, but yeah, it could be a glitch. The Minx says, hi, I'm sorry, a bit late to the party. No problem at all. Thanks for coming along. Keith Hannon says, I actually want to be an A320 pilot for Aer Lingus. There you go. Well, you won't be flying this livery if you do that, but yeah. Fantastic. I hope you make it. Oh, glorious. Glorious. Kai, good to see you. Kai says, do you know what that small screen above the MCDU does? I do. And Corrosive Moon's already answered. It's the CP DLC. It's slightly separate from ACARS. What it is it's a little screen. I'm talking about this screen here. You can actually dim it or turn it off. It's used to talk to air traffic control when we're not using the radio. So in modern days, this is a requirement now. And your message will come through and it'll say climb flight level 370, and then you would accept the message, send it back to them, and then you can do it. On modern aircraft, even better, it will say something like direct to a waypoint, then you can transfer it into the MCDU, and without having to do it yourself, you can just press execute and it will direct you to that waypoint. Slightly scary because it probably means that at some point air traffic controllers could just send it and the aircraft could just do it without you having to do anything. But for now, that's what it does. So yeah, that's what that's used for, not functioning in the simulator at the moment. Alexander Pasuto says, when I go on Airbuses, I do quite enjoy the dogs barking anyway in the background. So you just love the good old PTU. Yeah, that's sort of barking sound. They got rid of it in this mod because you can't hear it on the flight deck, which is accurate, but it sits in between the wings. It's the hydraulic system from one side powering the other. So it runs through the wings there because both hydraulic systems are powered by the engines, of course. So that does that barking dog noise. Yeah, absolutely. I flew the 757, Alexander, by the way, in my, I think it was my last X-Plane stream. So yeah, so we had our go at the Boeing. Playlist says, how long have you been a professional pilot? Everything you say is so freaking interesting. I'm glad it's interesting. I have been a commercial airline pilot for over 8 years. So yeah, I won't say too much more just to sort of keep my privacy a little bit. You can hear the cat complaining in the background. Okay, yeah, you might hear the cat complaining now, which she makes us feature in most streams. Come on. Come on. She's usually asleep when the stream starts, and then gets a little bit bored or cold during that time. You gonna meow? No? Happy? Meow. I don't know if you guys heard that. There's a picture of the cat on the Discord if any of you are interested. Kai, you're very welcome. Everett says, what do the engine main start buttons do on the bottom right of the top panel? I may be wrong, but I haven't seen them being used during startups. Great question. Control 5, no, control 6, 7, 8. This panel here, so engine N1 mode shouldn't be here. That is for the IAE engines. It's not used on engines that have a N1. So just this engine man start. This is used to manually start the engines. So what we'll do is, instead of the process where we turn the master switch to ignition and then put the master switch on, what you can do is press this button instead, and it will start turning the engine. It's used because it doesn't have as many protections as the FADEC system, but it can be helpful if you've got, for example, a tailwind and you're trying to start the engines, or the automatic system isn't quite working, or one of the igniters isn't working. Because when you do a manual engine start, like using this, it will use both ignition systems. So if you're flying an airplane where one ignition system is broken, the aircraft itself, using an automatic start, will alternate. It will use system A, then system B. If you use this, it will use both. So if you know system A is broken, you don't want to start the engine using it, because it will just take ages, and then it will eventually use system B. So you do a manual start. Yep. The co-pilot has indeed decided to join us in the cockpit, exactly. Right. What else have I missed? I do apologise to everyone who I've missed things. Richard Reed says, I just left you one Airbus pilot flying 2020 showing us the fly-by-wire system, and you're flying the same aircraft. 2 red Airbus pilots flying teaching at the same time. Great. Oh dear, yeah, it was going to happen one day. Obviously we're overlapping a bit today, but there we go. Everett says, what do the engine main start? Yeah, we've done that. Excellent. Organised 92 says, why does my A320NX always use open descent and then aim for 5,000 feet per minute? That ain't normal, is it? Well, it's not. 5,000 feet per minute isn't shocking. It's totally possible, especially when you start your descent. You wouldn't expect to do it for the whole flight, but it is possible. Open descent is a normal way to begin the descent phase, and as you descend, it will eventually sort of slow down that rate of descent. But that is quite fast. That is quite fast. David says, how do you get the pink info bar up? I'm using Fly Live Studio, which I think is a great little app. It's taken me a while to learn, but it's really great. I had to change it to make sure it connected to Microsoft Flight Simulator to give you all that information. AP says an A350 would be nice in FS 2020. It would indeed. We're going to be using the 350 very soon on this channel, but in X-Plane 11. Had the dog barking, now the cat meowing, exactly. Stream time equals feed time, yes. Which brings me to my merchandise. So, if any of you are interested, I do have a Teespring store with 320 Sim Pilot merchandise. And there's loads of things on there. The link, if you put in ! store, it will show you. The bot should show you. I'm also just going to pin the latest edition. I was hoping to. I can't see it now. Ah, okay. I can't see our latest addition to the store, but I am going to pin the mug. So if any of you are interested, there is our 320 Sim Pilot mug available now on the store. You can choose your colour, and it's got specially designed artwork. We've got the 320 Sim Pilot logo on the front and on the back, depending which way you hold your mug. We've got the tail fin from my Manta livery, which I use in X-Plane videos and X-Plane streams, which is designed for the channel. There's also t-shirts, sticker sets, all available on the store. Trucking Chris says, what is the maximum bank angle you shouldn't go past? Great question. If I go to the flight deck, good question. With the automatics, you don't really want to go much past 30 degrees. If you're flying manually, it depends on the airline, but 30 degrees is a good, don't go past 30 degrees with a passenger airliner. That is this little line here. This is 45 degrees, and then the real aircraft, there's another green eyebrows at 66 degrees to show you normal law. Yeah. Show it on the Avi tab, says Yes Papa. Yeah, that's how I introduce my merch, but sadly I can't do it today. Sander says, do you pilots often use the formula 3 times current altitude in thousands of feet to calculate top of descent? I have a video on when to descend, Sander, on my channel, and absolutely, except I would then add some miles to that. So we're at 37,000 feet. So I would make sure that I did 37 times 3, 111, plus 10, 121. That's about as complicated as maths gets when you're a pilot, and even that's quite hard for me. Eric Green says, CPDLC, is that like fly-by-wire? Hasn't that pilot override been around for a few years? No, it's not fly-by-wire. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just a communication device to talk to air traffic control. JJ Gaming and Singing, hello. If only we had Avitab. I agree, says Kayak. Yeah, I think it'd be great. I think there is some work being done on an electronic tablet to go here in this mod. How long's the landing, says Chipotle? It's, well, let's have a look. I don't know which. This says 1604. Is it updating? I had a bug where it didn't in one of my videos. 1604 with 424. Yeah, it is. So that's... Oh, that time's totally wrong, isn't it? Totally wrong. Well, we've got 400 miles to go. I'd say we've got probably... could be an hour, actually. Could be an hour left. Yeah, sorry about the times. I've set it to daylight just because I've done a few night streams and I wanted to make sure that the livery got the credit it deserved. Because I think it looks a great job. I love these retro liveries. How high are you in the sky? We're 37,000 feet in the sky. Corrosive Moon, go and enjoy your food. Yep, thank you very much. We'll see you soon when you get back. Always dinner time in these videos. Santiago says, how did you decide to make your videos? Love them, by the way. When the lockdown started, it's something I've always enjoyed, flight simulators, and I had done some videos many years ago before I was a pilot, and I'd always used flight simulators. And I thought, oh, it'd be fun, because I remember when I started flying the Airbus first time in flight simulator back in, that was on FSX, although that wasn't my first flight simulator, just my first Airbus. I had flight simulator 98 was my first. But yeah, I really struggled with the Airbus. It was so different to what I was used to, and I didn't know where the thrust levers went. I didn't know how to start the engines, and I thought, oh well, I'll make some videos now I know how to do it, having been trained on it, and there's a good Airbus available in X-Plane. So yeah, I gave it a go. And then thanks to people like Richard V and Matteo who came along, and loads of names here. There's loads of Corrosive Moon, Turtle Kayak, Yes Papa, who've all been here for a long time. Thanks to these people who just came along and kept liking and chatting in the chat, and then we slowly built up from there. Then we started our Discord, and that led to our growing the channel a bit, and then we grew a lot when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out. Yeah. JJ Gaming, I've just subscribed to you because you're so entertaining. Very kind of you, JJ. Thank you very much for the subscription. I'm sorry that the subscriptions aren't showing up. There seems to be a bug with Streamlabs at the moment with that sort of thing. Defective Foxes, have you tried VR mode in Microsoft Flight Simulator? No, sadly not. I have not tried VR mode. I don't have a VR headset for my PC. I just have a PlayStation 1. Should eat something before the stream, says Fixix Germany. I'm hungry too. Yeah, I always eat something small just before the stream with a cup of tea, and that way I can be ready for the stream to make it through even without dinner. Let's go back to the wing view, seeing as we're going to sit on the Unicom for a while. Oh, I love that view. I think that's absolutely great. Sander says, what descent rate do you think suits that formula? So that descent formula, if you go and watch my video on it, I talk about it a lot. It's effectively a 3-degree formula. The sum you do is for 3 degrees, but when you start your descent, you'll do more than 3 degrees. It will dive down quite fast, and then as you get lower, it will reduce. But that's roughly 3 degrees. To get 3 degrees, take your ground speed, and what I do is divide it by 2. So if I was doing 500 knots, I need to divide that by 2, 250, and then add a 0. So 2,500 feet per minute would be 3 degrees at 500 knots. That's over the grounds, though, that speed matters. Is that top bar altitude at standard? Top altitude. Are you talking about the pink bar? That's... Or... is the pink bar showing the wrong altitude? It could be, actually. What's it showing? Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not sure what that's based on, actually. How fast are you going, says Max M. Let's have a look. 458 knots, according to my overlay through the air. That would be true airspeed. Oh, that's ground speed, sorry, ground speed. Eric Green, thanks for your subscription. Apologies, the CloudBot has given up. I'm not sure why. Try and wake it up. No. Fingers crossed it comes back to life. Captain Bagoff says, what will happen if you tune 7600 in Microsoft Flight Simulator Maxim? I do not know. I do not know. Thank you, JJ Gaming. Yeah, please do like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video, and if you want to see more, there's plenty of videos on the channel. Oh, I'm not sure what view that was. I'm not sure how I ended up there. Yeah, there's I've got an RNAV tutorial recently on the channel. I've just yesterday put up a go-around tutorial using Flight Simulator, but I do have X-Plane videos which are slightly more in-depth, using a slightly more complete or mature version of the aircraft, also available on the channel. How do I get this camera when I'm flying? Go to Camera, so to get the wing view, then you go to Showcase, Fixed Camera, and choose your camera of choice. This one is, I believe, 13. No, 12. 13 is the forward view of the engine. Yeah. The Minx says, from an Airbus pilot's perspective, are there any major differences between the 318, 19, 20 and 21 apart from length, or could you swap quite easily? You can swap very easily between them. They do fly slightly differently. Obviously, the heavier they are, you need to make sure you flare on the landing as slightly earlier, I would say. But aside, and also they don't slow down. The 319 doesn't slow down when it's light as easily as, for example, a 320. But yeah, no, they're very similar. The cockpits are all under the same license. Victor Tango says, that's the seat I always try to book when I fly. I like seeing the flaps and ailerons move. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Victor Tango. This is my favourite view. I mean, I don't mind that view, but it's a little bit, you miss a little bit, I think. The magic of the wing view is you get to see down and see the ground as well as the all the parts of the airplane moving. Fesic says, Stevie Kinevo once said 1 hour estimated time en route is coffee time. Same applies for tea. Yeah. Yeah. Tea, coffee. I mean, most pilots will drink as much tea and coffee as you can give them. They'll just get through endless amounts of tea and coffee on the airplane. Richard Reed, I'm glad you're enjoying the video. I don't use Pilot A2C, Daniel Ryan. No, I don't. JJ Gaming, subscribe to you on all my devices in my house. Thank you so much for the videos you've done. That's very kind, JJ. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much for coming along. I'm always so pleased to hear the videos are appreciated. So we said we need about 120 miles, and in my head I always have 120 miles to the runway in my mind as a point where I need to think about descent. So we've still got a bit of time en route to chat. To those of you who, if I've missed your question, I'm really sorry. I'm not used to having this many people in chat. It's just me here trying to do this, so I do apologise. But what I will say is do subscribe. There'll be more streams, both in Microsoft Flight Simulator and all sorts of things coming. And hopefully I'll get to your question in one of those as well. Eric Green says, I'm so glad YouTube recommended this channel. When did you become a fully licensed commercial pilot, 320 sim pilot? Thank you, Eric. I'm glad you enjoy them. And yeah, as I think I mentioned, about fully commercial, about just over 8 years ago. Yeah. Stuart Lunn has a great question. In a given year, what percentage of pilot's time would be flying pitch and power rather than relying on autopilot and flight director? Apologies for the question. No need to apologise. So, not much. You would do pitch and power rather than relying on autopilot. I mean, pitch and power flying is not something we do in airliners very often. The only time you're going to use pure pitch and power, which is where you'll say, right, I'm going to set 2.5 degrees pitch and 80% power. That would be if you think you have unreliable airspeed. We can't fly manually in the cruise because we're in RVSM airspace, reduced vertical separation minimum airspace. So when we're up here, we have to use the automatics. If we lose our autopilot, we have to descend out of this airspace. But you will fly approaches usually manually. But the thing is, there's not much point in sitting here flying manually the whole way, because in an Airbus, you know, hopefully you do almost nothing. What it does mean is one pilot is busy doing that the whole time, and it means the second pilot can't as easily do other tasks that they need to do because they need to monitor what the pilot flying is doing. So yeah, to be honest, not much pitch power time. You'll do that sort of thing in the simulator a lot though. Hello to Matthew. Any slats on A320? Yes, the A320 has slats on the whole wing. Yep, but only the outboard 3 are heated. What are the 2 square buttons by the ignition selector switch for the engines? These square buttons here, they're not buttons, they just light up and say fire if there is a fire. So they're a way of confirming which engine is on fire. So there'll be a little light in one of these, and there'll be a light up here in whichever one thinks there's a fire. Yep, so you can't press them, they don't do anything. Daniel Scamerton says, first time I've been able to catch a stream since I'm almost 12 hours behind. Thanks for coming along. Yeah, I do tend to stream at about the same time every day, so I do apologise. I am going to mix that up soon though. We're going to do a long haul flight which will cover a lot more hours. Hella, am I pronouncing that right? What's the difference between true airspeed and ground speed? Another great question. If there was no wind, your true airspeed would be the same as your ground speed. So our indicated airspeed is low because the air is very thin up here. We're actually going through the air much faster. We're going through it at 446 knots. Our ground speed is just that, influenced by the wind. So you can see the wind arrow is slightly behind us. It's coming from 318, so it's slightly pushing us forwards. So although we're going through the air at 445, 46 knots, the air is pushing us as well, so we're actually going over the ground even faster at 453 knots. That's all that is. Playdis says, can you check the total remaining routes to the destination airport somewhere in the MCDU? Yeah, so it says 339, it tells you in there. And the timings are all wrong, sadly, but yeah. See our extra fuel, we're going to have loads extra. We're not burning much. I'd expect it to burn sort of 800 a side, yeah, 900 kilograms an hour per engine. Pretty good. That's the NEOs for you. Shelley Cracer, Canadian $10 donation. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Shelley says, I have been enjoying your videos and streams for a couple of months. Love the calm sound of your voice and presentation. It's both soothing and stimulating / educational. That's great to hear. Thank you, Shelley. I really appreciate it. Yeah, when I get a lot of comments about my voice, which really did surprise me when I started the channel. It wasn't it wasn't part of my thinking of starting the channel, but yeah, thank you, Shelley. I really appreciate it, and it really helps the channel. And I'm just, yeah, you guys are so generous. Thank you very much, Shelley. I hope you have a great new year. And I assume you're over in Canada as well, so thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Diode42 says, I'm really keen for the long haul flight. Yeah, me too. I'm excited. First time I've done it. I think Alexander Pasuto did ask earlier, am I thinking of long haul? I've never done it in real life, but I'd love to try it. So yeah, I would definitely be looking forward to it. Tracking Chris says, what is your most favourite part of the flight? Favourite part of the flight? The approach. The most obvious thing, really. I like taxiing on the ground. I do like taxiing. I like the takeoff roll. I like the approach and the landing. I don't mind the cruise. The start of descent is a bit... There's not much going on at the start of descent. And same for the climb. When you're looking up... During the climb, it's like you're just pointing up at the sky. It's great when... The lower climb is great as you get above the clouds. Amazing. It's not so much fun when you are just sort of pointing into the blue sky and you can't see anything because the nose is up high and it just goes on for a while. Good evening to Yao Carlos. Sorry, I'm definitely going to get that wrong. Embert says, greetings from Norway. Great stream. Really educational for amateurs like me. That's great, Embert. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thanks for coming along. Really appreciate it. Pierre Luke Poliquin says, thanks for the great content. I really appreciate it, Pierre. Very kind. Just to say, I watched most, if not all of your videos in the past few months and have been enjoying it and learned a lot to the point that I wish I had that kind of information for the 7.8 and 7.4. That's great, Pierre. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I would not be able to help with the 7.8 at all. I can promise you that. Domkey says, I always wonder why the engine cutoff switches are easily accidentally switchable. So something you can't tell from the simulators is they're very hard to move. They're really... you have to lift them to move them. They don't actually just flick forwards and backwards. Yeah, so don't worry about that. Yeah, they are very secure. In fact, they can be quite tough to move. And then this little plate here is just another way to sort of keep them sheltered. And you don't really do anything down here. They're not surrounded by other controls. I know these are here, but these they're so different. They're not switches. There's no switches that you're going to move near here. So yeah, no, they're very secure. I'm struggling with the chat, I do apologise. Richard Reed says, you need to fly for 6 hours, this Airbus can do it. Yeah, I could do it in the Airbus as well one day. Pierre-Luc Poliquin, wow, $69.99 Canadian dollars. We're getting loads of Canadian dollars today, that's very kind of you. Love the content, keep it up. Thank you, Pierre, that's really kind, I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'm really humbled today, to be honest, because we've never had so many viewers, and I didn't, in my wildest dreams, think people would be this engaged and this happy with the content, so I really appreciate it. It means so much to me, and thank you, Pierre. That really helps the channel so much, and thank you for your contribution. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're doing well over it. I assume it is Canada, and I haven't got that wrong, but yeah, thank you so much. I can see it's stuttering slightly. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, Pierre, I'm not ready for these donations. That's far too kind. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very kind. Amazing. Right, moving on. It's hard to move on. Little Moop says, have you tried the SoFly weather presets yet? I have indeed. More to come in the future on that. Will this be an ILS approach? Yes, I will do an ILS approach for this one. That's the plan. What does chrono button do? A chrono button just starts a timer. So if I press chrono, I get a little clock. Oops, excuse me, a little clock here, and the time starts running. If I press it again, it stops, and if I press it again, it clears itself, and then I can start again. That's used for takeoff, and if you're timing any problems or maybe some reset you're doing. Yep. Basic says, your voice is definitely the reason why your videos are so enjoyable. I got comments that my voice is not that nice, but what can you do about that? Yeah, I mean, I would never have thought that was the case, so I'm sure that's not the case for you either, Fezix, but yeah, I get a lot of comments about my voice, I do, yeah. Thomas bought this game last night, still waiting for my flight stick. Yeah, good, I hope you enjoy it. And make sure you get the Flybywire mod. Link is in the description, Thomas. I think it is anyway. If not, I'm sure someone can provide it for you. You must get the mod if you're going to fly the 320. It only affects the 320, but it's excellent. Ethan's Aviation says, hi Captain, I really enjoy your vids as I mainly watch Boeing vids, especially the 756. I'm glad you're enjoying them. That's great to hear that we're getting a Boeing fan on board, but I do occasionally stream in the 757 as well. Clever Drawing says, why does the plane rock from side to side? It's not really. It's a tiny bit, but nothing too outrageous. Planes do gently get a little bit of turbulence like that. But yeah, perhaps it's doing a little bit much. I mean, you'd expect it to generally be pretty much still. And even when the PFD looks quite stable like this, you'd probably feel that. You'd probably go, oh yeah, a bit of turbulence. I love the reflections, by the way. That they've got this Niven reflecting in the glare shield, just like it does on the real aircraft. Steve says, I'm following this flight on the little map. Great stuff. Oh, great. Yeah. Samuel says, do you have a plane in mind for your long haul stream? It'll be the 350 in X-Plane 11. Yeah, absolutely. What equipment is required for RVSM airspace? So RVSM airspace, as I said earlier, is this high altitude airspace we're in, and you need loads of equipment, including the automatics, to be working. I mean, the list is quite long, so I can't remember it off the top of my head. In a serviceable aeroplane, you should have it all, but yeah, it's not something you can go and do in a Piper Warrior. Not that it could get anywhere close to this high, but Spooky Dookie, which is a fantastic name, says, in the NX, I have noticed that when hand flying to 10,000, the FD, the flight directors that is, only command level flight. If I turn on the autopilot, then it commands climb. Is it realistic or a bug? No, that's a bug. The flight directors should be providing the same information whether or not you have the autopilot in. They're not the same thing as the autopilot. So yeah, they should be providing good information anyway. The graphics are amazing in this sim, I do agree. Siberian Reality says, thanks for the stream. Thank you for coming along and for watching. I'm glad you could tune in. I'm off to my own flight, showing some friends the terrifying approach to Madeira. Yeah, enjoy. Madeira is quite something. Sander said, I've never seen your streams, but you popped up on my feed, so I pressed it. Very interesting because you're a real pilot, someone I aspire to be one day. That's very kind of you. I'm really glad. Thank you for coming along. I'm glad YouTube recommended the video. It shows that it hasn't banished us to the depths of YouTube just yet. And thanks for coming along. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. And I hope you make it. Yep, I hope anyone who wants to be a pilot gets to do it. Fantastic view. That is great. One of my favorite times of day as the sun goes down, and it's getting below the horizon. So there's a few effects we can see here. You'll start to see the Earth's shadow, which is this sort of dark area here coming into play, and it's really visible. So you'll get just a line, and it's the whole Earth's planet's shadow. Then the light coming from behind, going up and shining on these clouds from underneath, gives you this pink effect. It's fantastic. That is brilliant. I didn't think the sim could look this good, to be honest, and I've flown it quite a bit, and this is just live weather. I must start planning the descent soon. Mark says, can the Airbus auto land? If so, how often do you use it? It can auto land. It doesn't auto land very well in this simulator just yet, but yeah, it can auto land. We don't do it very often. Some airlines will make you do it once or twice a month as practice. Otherwise, you'll just do it when the visibility is bad. So a few times a year, you'll do it for real. But yeah, it can auto land. It can even auto land on one engine. It's amazing. It can auto land in various amounts of crosswind. It's an amazingly capable aeroplane. Mr. Espresso says, is it common to sometimes experience low GPS precision in real life? I read in some areas with military operations, GPS is degraded. Yes, that does happen, Mr. Espresso. Absolutely. Rare. I mean, there are certain parts of the world where it happens, and this GPS primary could disappear, but your accuracy might stay high because we need an accuracy. We need to be within 3.4 nautical miles of where we think we are, and we're at 0.07 because the GPS is very accurate. However, if we lost the GPS, our IRSs have their own position, and that's, as you can see, they're all spot on with each other. They all agree. In real life, these would have maybe 1 mile, maybe 2 mile, maybe 3 miles out. They might all be 1 mile out. So it's not guaranteed they'd all be the same, but it's not as accurate as GPS, but it works. You could fly across the Atlantic using that, and for many years people did. So yeah. Talking about transition altitude, what is the correct way to switch to standard in the game? So as soon as you're cleared up to a flight level, so our transition altitude was 5,000 feet today, we saw that on the chart. As soon as we were cleared up to 90, flight level 90, which was on our departure, we can set it, but you wouldn't do that until you've taken off. So we were cleared to a flight level from even before we took off, but you want to take off on QNH so you have the right information, especially with terrain. Beautiful view, yeah, absolutely agree. Right. Simple question, I guess, is Pierre, what is the transition altitude? I mean, what is the point of it? So the reason is, when you're near the ground, you'll use the QNH, which is the pressure setting. If you have the correct QNH, which you set up here, that sets the altimeter to the right pressure, because air pressure changes all the time, and obviously we measure our altitude based on how much pressure is in the air. So the reason the airplane knows we're at 37,000 feet is because there's low pressure outside, so it knows we must be very high. Now, of course, day to day that pressure goes up and down over the planet, and because of all sorts of things. I won't even pretend to know all of them, but things like the temperature and just masses of air and movements and the rotation of the Earth and all sorts. So anyway, that's my incredibly basic understanding of it. So we have to calibrate it every time we fly to make sure it matches. So when you're on the ground, you'll set the QNH, and same for when we're in the descent. We'll set the pressure to the same pressure that is actually at the airport we're going to, and that way the altimeter will show us the correct altitude. However, when we go above the transition altitude, which today was 5,000 feet, we swap to flight levels. Flight levels are always based on a QNH of 1013. Always, always, always. I think it's 1013.25 or something like that if you want to be really accurate. It's called standard barrow setting, standard pressure setting. That way, airplanes flying from different airports, because for example, the QNH in Dublin is not the same as the QNH in Bergen. So we're going to fly between airports. So we need to have a standard so that we don't accidentally fly into another airplane coming the other way who's on a different pressure setting. Also, they might be at a different altitude but a different pressure setting, and you'd all be too close. So that's pretty much its purpose. I think you've got a few other good answers in the chat there. Attitude mode on the IRSs is a way to give ourselves the PFD even if we can't fully align and figure out where on the planet we are. But you can use it for the PFD anyway. In severe turbulence, do you always keep the autopilot on? Yeah, if you can, unless it's ridiculous. If you take out the autopilot, you'll probably make things worse. The Airbus autopilot is very good. It will probably manage very well. Other aircraft I've flown do not have such good autopilots, so it's not always the case. Some aircraft, the autopilot may actually drop out if you try and use it in heavy or severe turbulence. But if you can, the Airbus one is very good, unless it's doing something you don't like. But yeah. Victor Tango says there's a famous picture of K2 from the summit at sunset where its shadow goes as far as the horizon. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. It's amazing. Sorry, I'm just shockingly behind on the chat. I don't know why the US uses 18,000 feet as a transition altitude. I just know they do. So the transition altitude changes around Europe all the time, whereas in America it's always 18,000 feet. Yeah. I mean, that can sort of make sense. It makes sense to me. Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, do please hit the like button. It really makes a difference to the channel, and I really appreciate it. Toga says that's correct, 1013.25. Good. Good. That's a bit of trivia back from flight school. RVSM, Max Thrust RC's found it. It needs 2 primary altimeters, an autopilot, 1 altitude alerting system, a secondary surveillance radar transponder with altitude reporting on it, and the primary altimeters agree within 200 feet. There you go. Fantastic. Richard V, thanks for the weather. Richard V says, what's the weather? It's calm winds there. Temperature 3, dew point 2, low QNH of 9 at 906. Wind is at 1200 feet, variable 2. So calm winds, lovely. I'm not sure which runway we'll be on then. Is there a controller there? I'm going to set up one and then probably it's going to change. It's definitely time I set up the arrival. I need to stop chatting. I do this a lot on my streams. The regulars will know. Let's see if I can find us on the charts. Because we're out over the ocean now. We've got, Shamrock 2121 is behind us. Excellent. So we're about to make our left turn north up to Stavanger. There's loads of, up to Bergen. There's loads of aircraft there already. Victor Charlie Papa. Is that the alpacas? Anyway, no air traffic control there yet, so that does help a little bit. Are you still an active pilot? Do you still fly these during the pandemic? I am an active pilot. I'm flying a lot less, but I do still fly. Yes, thank goodness, because that's not the case for everyone, and my heart really goes out to everyone who's having a hard time, of course, and of course there'll be plenty of people who've not been able to fly or lost their jobs. So yeah. Not great, but hopefully things get better this spring. Masson says, please can you speak a little bit slower? Apologies. Yes, I will try to make sure I do that. VCP is alpaca. Okay, so there must be a group flight or something going on over there. There seems to be plenty there. Expect 3.5 on the 80s at the MBR. Great, we will do that. Tower is online at the MBR. Oh, okay. Oh, well, my chart is wrong then. Let's have a look at V pilots. which is a great little app actually. Works really nicely. It's not showing it. Oh yeah, there they go. Tower. Oh well, then maybe we'll be able to get an ATIS. So let's start thinking about that before I leave things far too late. Yeah, right. So, oh no, don't do that. Right, apologies if I miss any more questions. I do my best, but yeah. Thanks, Andy H132. Good to see you, Andy. If I haven't said hello, Andy, a very active Discord member, been with us for a long time. So thanks, Andy. Hope you're doing well this evening. Hello to Salamato Guru. Hello to you. Speak a little bit faster. Right, okay. Let's see. Right, let's get ourselves a weather. Fingers crossed this works. Right, weather request. ATIS. EMBR arrival. Here we go. If you're not careful in the real aircraft, you end up with little printouts of all these weathers just floating around. Why don't you try the FS Labs? Well, I would try the FS Labs, but I don't have P3D. I only have I do have FSX, so I could do. But I've been using X-Plane for the Toliss. It's been my my go-to hardcore Airbus, as it were. Receive messages. Does it work? Yay! There we go. Right, let's take a note of some of these things now. RS35. Transition level 8.5. So that does change, as I said earlier. So in the descent, the transition level has to go up and down because that's the last flight level you can use. Because the QNH is low today, we have to transition to altitude slightly earlier than we would normally. To QNH, sorry. It's a big topic though. I should probably do a whole video on it, to be honest. 050 at 2 knots. Visibility more than 10 kilometers, which is good. Broken 5,000. So nice weather. And then, yeah, remember to scroll down. Not how it would do it in the real one. Temperature 3, very cold, 2.2, QNH 996. That's information Zulu. So always take a note of that, just because you're going to have to refer to it several times over, and then, yeah, you could print it out in the real airplane. So now we're going to set up for the arrival. So we've got the RS35 loaded in here, so I can see that in the flight plan. It should tune it here, but it will happen automatically a bit later, a bit of a bug. In the progress page, I would put in, I always try this just in case it's going to work, but it doesn't. No. Oh, ENBR. So that would give us the bearing and distance to that point, but sadly it just doesn't work. One day it will, I'm sure, and it's a great feature. I use it every day at work. Cruise, right, so we go next descent, then next approach. Let's put in that QNH of 996. Temperature 3, very cold. Magnetic wind 050 at 2. Transition altitude, now that's wrong. That should say transition level. It's a level in the descent. It's level 85. Yeah, so is that 85 or do I need to put in? Probably I have to do that, but that's not quite right. It should be a level, so I should just be able to put 85 in. And next we're going to put in the MDA. So time to bring up the charts for Bergen. Let's see if I can manage that. I'm not very good at the Navigraph app. Oh, what's going on there? Just make sure. Oh, returning. That's why you want to keep one eye outside the what's going on at all times. Definitely. Right, it's not working. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get the charts to work on the Navigraph app. There we go. Okay. So the arrival we loaded in was going to be via Aluva to Papa. So hopefully that's what they expect us to do. Aluva to Papa. Right, let me show you the charts. Again, apologies guys, we're going to miss a few. I'm going to miss a few chats things now, but we'll give it a go. I just apologise. Thank you all for coming along. I mean, it's great to have so many people here and so active. So hopefully next flight, or maybe a bit in the descent. Anyway, so from Aluva to Genvu to Auckland, Bravo Romeo 725, and then around the arrival. It says enter desk data. It's talking about the minima. But anyway, around the arrival, I need to be ready that we won't fly all of this arc, so I'll have to get the height off and be ready. It wants us to be at 4,000 feet there, so that's fine, and we'll check that in the MCDU. And then into Rivip, add to pinboard. There we go. And then we're going to do the RLS to 3.5. Just a whiskey, very unusual. Normally there's a Zulu and a whiskey, but today just a whiskey. So then from Rivip in, down the ILS, it's a normal 3-degree ILS, all very simple, beautiful scenery around here, so I'm hoping we'll get to see some of it during the descent. Landing minima for a Cat C aeroplane, which is what we are, 365 MDA. So I can clear that message. 365, config full landing. If we go around, and I've talked about this in my go around video, so do please go to the channel and have a look at that video if you would like to know more about going around. But we're going to go climb on 350 to ERDAV, enter holding at 3,000 feet. So I'm going to put 3,000 feet into the engine out acceleration altitude window, and let's find the elevation of the airport. The elevation is 56 feet, so I'm going to put in 1,050 for the acceleration if we go around. Just, oh no, that's not it. None of that has worked. 1,050. Oh, come on. 1,050. Can't do it too fast. In the real aeroplane, even sometimes these do get a bit slow and you have to be a bit careful. So there we go. That's all set up. Fuel prediction, 3.9 tons extra, loads of fuel. Let's just give ourselves a bit of extra alternate fuel. 1 ton would be a bit happier. 800 final reserve. So we need to land with 1.8 tons of fuel on board. It thinks we'll land with 5 tons. I mean, that's ridiculous. But yeah, it's an amazing machine. Doesn't burn much fuel at all. Let's go back to constraint. And now I can see what the airplane is going to do. So let's get rid of the chart for you. Oh, and one last thing. Let's get the taxi charts ready. I always forget to do that. So we'll pin that. And we'll pin the parking stands. I normally give you guys loads of Wikipedia facts about the flight and the livery and the airline, but today I don't have it ready. I do have it ready, but I haven't had time to get to it. So we're landing northerly on 3.5. We'll vacate, come down Yankee, and probably park on Terminal 2, the old terminal for this international arrival. Great stuff. The charts app is Navicraft Calbas. That's what I'm using for that. Mr. Espresso says no wind at Bergen. Thought it was always windy there. Yeah, no, it's a nice day today. Nick Gregory, you should offer virtual flying lessons for a little financial support to your channel. Yeah, you know, I don't really know if there's any services that do that, but it's an interesting idea, definitely. Wind is incorrect. Have I done the wind wrong, have I? Oh, very good, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. 0502. There we go. Won't make too much difference. It should also say 050. I'm pretty sure it never says 50, but there we go. Because in aviation, you never tend to miss things out like that. So 120 miles straight in to our runway. So we said about now we want to start a descent. Now, if I go to flight plan, it would actually say top of descent on here in the real aircraft. It's not modelled yet on this. So I think it's time to start down. Flight level 90 is our first restriction. So let's descend to 90. We know it's safer terrain. We've been over the North Sea, flying past some oil rigs probably. And let's see if we can get managed descent. There we go, thrust idle des. I mean, it clearly doesn't have much of a vertical profile loaded in, so probably just going to do a thrust idle descent, we shall see. For landing, I'm going to use low auto brake, flat full, we'll use idle reverse, and yeah, there's a nice length runway here in Bergen, so that should be no problem. How long is it? It's 2,900 meters almost, yeah. Bit of an inset threshold, but no problem there. And then we'll roll out and vacate to the right. Fantastic. So there you go, brake low, arms here. I know the 321 NEOs show that. I don't know if any 320 NEOs do, but maybe there are some that do. And so it begins. Down we go. Beginning of the arrival. Eric Green says, did you use flight sims when you were in training? Yes, I did. Mostly I use the simulators provided by my flight school. They typically have some available, probably not as nice looking as Microsoft Flight Simulator, but pretty good for training using instruments. You don't, during flight training, use anything airliner related, obviously, until you're learning the actual aircraft. Juice says, how do you know which SID to use? So you need to, basically, it depends on your flight plan. So my flight plan took me to Aluva. I generated this flight plan using SimBrief, but you can also do it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just whichever SID or star links up to your waypoint, your flight plan to arrive from. So we were flight plan to Aluva, so we're going to use the Aluva arrival. Thank you for all the likes, guys. As many likes as you can get. If we've broken the record here with 439. So yeah, if you're watching and enjoying, please do like the video. It makes a big difference to my channel and YouTube's suggestion of the channel. So if you've had it suggested to you today, thank you for coming along. I really appreciate it. So in the descent, I'm going to turn the dome light off as I would in the real airplane. Let's get some nice views outside. Ooh, that is a bit dark. There we go, integral lighting. Good job I found that one. That is a little bit dark. That's, to be honest, the view you would have. But for the sake of the sim, let's have it on the dim. But yeah, you would fly it as nice and dark in real life. Victor Tango says, does the Airbus call out when you reach minimums? It does. Yeah, it should call out 100 above and minimums. So it should call out at 465. Yeah. I have a video on when to descend James London on my channel. So I think it's literally called when to descend. So yeah, do please go to that and it will explain it. But it's 3 times your altitude. So say let's round this to 30,000 feet. So take the 30, times it by 3, so that's 90 miles. Then add 10, so 100. Now, if you're got a tailwind, which we don't. If we had a strong tailwind, I'd add another 10 or maybe even 20. If you join the Discord, our Discord admin, Yes Papa, did a great job of adding a calculator into the Discord with the bot, so you can actually get it to calculate for you. The reason I'm going to 9,000 feet is because that's our restriction, Genvu 9,000. In real life, air traffic control would give you different descent clearances. Or they'd clear you by the procedure. So let me bring up the charts just to do a bit more properly. So on the chart, I can see Aluva is above flight level 90. Then it says 4,000 feet there. But I know 9,000 feet from Aluva will give me plenty of room to descend. 4,000 feet by Rivip. So I need to lose 5,000 feet from Aluva to Rivip. And it's also got all of this arc to fly, so we've got loads of room. But the reason I put 9,000 is because it's just a safe altitude to start with. There's no terrain. The terrain is up to quite high, 5,500 feet. So I don't want to go below that altitude until I know I'm on one of these procedures. I won't just... If I go direct, I need to be very careful of terrain. There you go. My tea is now finished. Ice cold, as you would expect. Mr. Espresso says, do you use default AirAC on Microsoft Flight Simulator with VATSIM or more current AirAC from Navigraph? I'm just using the default. I don't... Oh, actually, I'm not sure. I tell a lie. I'm not sure if I've used the Navigraph update to get this Microsoft updated. The difference between open and managed descent or climb, OPUK or OPUK. If you go to my channel, it's one of my earlier Microsoft Flight Simulator videos. I talk about autopilot. I think it's called Autopilot Basics, and I discussed that a bit. So yeah. Yeah, the brake flow is new. I don't think the 320 NEO aircraft have this, except unless they've been modified with the latest system. But the 321 NEO certainly do. So it is a feature that does exist. Yeah, it's quite new. Not on any Airbus until the latest NEOs, really. Right, let's check our altitude. So 23,000 feet. So let's do 23 times 3. That'll be 69. Oh dear. And then that's going to be another 10. So that's 70 plus 10, 80. So yeah, we need 80 miles. We've got 80 miles straight in. we'll probably end up flying level because we're going to fly around all of this arrival. Oh, sorry guys, I've been in the wrong window, so I've been missing my name tags. Apologies for that. Which Tango, yeah, I saw that the Toliss doesn't do it yet. I think Matteo mentioned it in Discord as well, but they will hopefully add it at some point. I think the Toliss does the radio ones, like the old aircraft, but not the new ones, yeah. What happens when you have to go around after minimum, says Jacek Zikiewicz. Hopefully I get that something close. What if you go around after minimums? That's a great question. I've done a video on, they're called rejected landings or balked landings, where you go around that low to the ground. It's a slightly different procedure. So yeah, I have a video on that. It's something I'll definitely cover in Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. But essentially, it's weird. I wouldn't expect to see the bright red there. Makes me a bit nervous. Essentially, you would do very similar to a go-around, but you wouldn't bring in the flaps until you were sure you were going to climb away from the ground, and you might not change anything. You might be on the runway, you know. So there's a few details about it, so I'll leave it for a video. James London, I'm glad you enjoy the videos. No problem at all. Yeah. Dear, I shouldn't have said anything. And my calculations bringing up dodgy numbers. Diode 42. Speaking of your videos, the speech bubbles are great. I still haven't found the coffee from the fighters that stream great. Well, that's my graphic designer who does those, so they'll be very pleased to hear that the speech bubbles are appreciated. They put in loads of different details and loads of thumbnails. They've done a great job over the last few months, so I'll let them know. Thanks. How do you keep the plane from going? Of course. Well, sadly, I can't always. It doesn't always happen like that. Here we go. Last bit of light out there. The real aircraft is much more reliable, obviously, than the this simulator lets it be. Look at those clouds, fantastic. Yeah, but yeah, typically it sometimes it does in the simulator. Yeah, I love these window reflections. That is just great. Hold. I don't think the hold works yet. I'm still waiting for it to work before I can do a video. They have all the right information. Oh, sorry guys, let me do it properly. Control 5. So a louver and then hold, but it doesn't actually do anything. So I will do a tutorial on that when it works, and then you could insert it. But I've tried and it just flies right past it. But if you wanted to, when it works, you know, if anyone's watching now, you would do that. Press hold 1 4, and then right or whatever it would be, and then insert. Yeah. Tom says, "Do you like pineapple on pizza?" Yes, I do. That is probably a very controversial thing to say live on a stream. Hello, what does the NX stand for on the A320NX? Good question. Does anyone know? I don't know. I don't know. They've done a great job, but I don't know if they've revealed. I think they had a big vote on the name. I'm from the UK. Andrew says, how do you know when to use standard QNH versus local air pressure? I've been assuming that if air traffic prefixes the command with flight level, one is to use standard for QNH. Is that correct? Yes. If they say climb flight level, use the standard. If they say altitude, use QNH. And you change it, they'll base that off of the transition altitude, which we've talked about. So you have to rewind a bit the stream. But yeah, we have talked about it a little bit, so I won't talk about it again right now. The pineapple on pizza is as shocking as we imagined. To be honest, these days I rarely have that. I'll typically go for a margarita, if I can, to be honest with you. Or my favourite, the Bufala mozzarella cheese. So a Bufala sort of margarita, or sometimes called Bufala Doc. My favourite, yeah. Pineapple emoji coming on the Discord, yeah, could be. Oh no, Andy. Oh no, Andy doesn't like it either. I do apologise. Screen's in Italian, yeah. Can you zoom in on the nav? Yeah. There you go. Let's bring that down. So we should get a level off arrow. We're going to level off at 90 very soon. This plane is, yeah, descended quite well. But no problem. I'm going to prepare myself for a straight in. But even then, we've got low. Yeah, we are very low. There's no need to be this low out here. Let's do vertical speeds. 500 feet per minute. And we'll just let the airplane... Oh, no, we're not going to slow down. Let's keep 290 knots. There we go. Now, in theory, as you go below 100, you would slow down to 250 without being asked or told otherwise. But if we ask air traffic, we could do faster. I've redeemed myself with my pizza choice. Good. Greg says, does TCAS work on AI planes? Yesterday I was doing a flight with a lot of AI planes close, but they didn't show up on my screen. No, the TCAS isn't showing anything on mine either. I don't think it works yet. Yeah, I miss proper pizza too. Yeah, I agree. Ed E says, going to fly the 320 soon. Good, enjoy. Make sure you get the fly-by-wire mod if you're doing it on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Highly recommended. Do I need the autopilot? You don't need to, but it is available. Right, 10,000 feet. Let's get the AirDesk buttons up. Oh, no, not like that. That way. No. Go that way. There we go. So now the RNS will be displayed. It's gone back into DES mode, but should level off anyway at 90. Let's just check it does, because in the real aircraft it absolutely would. There we go, speed out start. Below 10,000 feet, we can get those landing lights on. Get the seatbelt signs on. Tell the passengers to start getting ready for landing. I don't know why my terrain... That's the weather radar, but that's not particularly accurate of what you would see. And the tilt doesn't work anyway. That's basically a ground map at this point. That doesn't show me any weather. Yeah, no, the Copilot I think has the weather radar, but it's just painting the ground. If you see it like that, yeah, because as we can see, not much out there at all. I was hoping to get there in daylight. I didn't really plan this very well. How far out can you request the ATIS on the MCDU? Flew to Rome today, didn't work like yours. In real life, there's no range limit because it's done through ACARS. It's like using the internet. It isn't the internet, but it's like using that. So there's no range limit. Over radio signal, if you were to get it using the frequency, yeah, it'd be maybe 150 miles-ish, something like that. The pilot doesn't get to choose which airport they work from. Razvan, usually you'll get put there by your airline and then you'll bid to go where you want to go. So you can usually bid for it, but yeah, you don't really get to choose your routes that often. Sometimes you do. Victor Tango, speaking of food, dinner is ready, so I shall watch the landing later on. Thank you for the stream, and see you later. See you later, Victor Tango. Thanks for coming. I hope you're doing well, and yeah, enjoy dinner. No pizza tonight for me, which is a shame really, because now we talked about it so much. Okay, so ideally I'd get straight in now, but let me just see if air traffic control is still available. Oh, they might have gone. There's no, they've gone. They're probably just there. There's a ground frequency. There is a ground frequency. They may have just been there for the group flight. So we shall see. Set your QNH. Yeah, that is a good question. So let's find out, what was my transition level? 8.5. So we're right to be on flight level 90 because the transition level is flight level 8.5. So that means 8,000 feet is the next altitude, and that is an altitude. Yeah. When do you take the throttle off so the aircraft does not jump on landing? You take the throttle off sometime after 30 feet and certainly before touchdown. Morton, I have a landing tutorial on my channel. Yeah. If you have disrupted passengers that don't want to sit down for landing, what are your options? Ah, well, there's a question you could talk about all day. I'll leave that one for now, but yeah. Good stuff. I have flown in the last 6 months, Jake, thankfully. Yes, I have. Yeah. Mr. Captain says transition level is 8.5. No need to set QNH. Yeah, absolutely. You guys got it. Sorry to the Alex Dean, your message got blocked because by Streamlabs. It does that automatically when we talk about the call out for the Airbus, it will say retards because it's telling you to retard the thrust levers to idle. But sadly, when you type that into the chat, the Streamlabs bot does get upset and removes the message. So I do apologise, Alex. But yeah. Ground is waiting for your arrival, Daniel. Thank you so much. That's really kind. I will, in this case, let's give ourselves the direct we were hoping for. I mean, you wouldn't ever expect to fly all of this unless you had a lot of traffic around. So, let's bring up our charts. There it is. If we go to Rivet, we can descend to 4,000 feet. On all of these legs we can be 4,000 feet in fact, so we're clear to descend now down to 4,000 if we were following that procedure, so let's do that. 4,000 feet, we got the speed up, so because I'm going fast I need to give myself a little bit of extra space to actually slow down. And now we must set QNH, and we said QNH was 906. Hopefully Microsoft has got that right. Let's just press B just to see. I think it does, I think it's matching, that's good news. And then I might consider going direct to... Oh, I see, it's going in via Goded. Actually, it's not quite got the right arrival. It's coming in by the other side. I should have spotted that earlier. Unusual for it to pick the wrong via, but it has. No problem. Approach via. I wonder if it will let me change it now. Rivet. Anti-ice detected. Very good. Right, insert that. That's better. That looks better. All right, let's do that. Anti-ice detected, so we're going to put the engine anti-ice on, and I'm assuming that means wing anti-ice on. I have not flown an Airbus that has that ECAM warning. Normally, I just turn on the anti-ice when it's 10 degrees outside and there's moisture. So as you can see, we're not really in cloud, although we are about to go into it. But some Airbuses must have an option to have that feature fitted. So we will take advantage of that, and we will use it. Right, oops, sorry, let me get rid of the charts for you guys. I'm just going to put it to the ILS, so that's the next step via Rivet. I'm using mouse, keyboard, and a Thrustmaster HOTAS for Eric Green. Yeah. Is Alex UK off? Anyway. So transition level is going up and down is different. Yes, it is. Speed out star, there we go, 4,000 feet, which is perfectly safe to be here. 300 knots is pretty fast though. Let's go back to 250 now. I really didn't think it'd be quite as dark. I hope the scenery works at night. I haven't tried it at night. Come on, I want 250. You can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slowly does it. 250. There we go. Screaming in at 300 knots at this altitude is no points. There we go. The terrain's looking much better now. It would normally show blue to show you water. I've never seen a terrain display this accurate. The database is incredibly accurate that this is based off. This isn't a radar image. It's a database, but you don't get it displayed with this sort of accuracy in the real aircraft, and you can't use it to fly through valleys or anything like that. How does the anti-ice work? Well, I have a video just on that. So again, go to my channel and I have a video on anti-ice systems of the Airbus, but we've got the wing anti-ice on. That's going to heat the outboard 3 slats, which is pretty hard to show you as we head into the murk. The outboard 3 slats here. And I've got the engine anti-ice on, which heats the nacelle there, the intake for the engine. So yeah, if you get this sort of haze as the landing lights, or the landing lights are reflecting back at you, you know you're in moisture. Is there a reason to keep anti-ice off when you don't need it in the real world versus just leaving it on for the entire flight? The reason we don't do that is because it takes a lot of energy out of the engines. It uses hot air from the engines, so by taking the air out of the engines we don't get to use it for thrust, and it burns more fuel. So yeah, it takes quite a big difference to the fuel burn of a flight to have the engine anti-ice on the whole way. That's pretty much why. Okay, let's check that we have the ILS in here. It's still not got it. Why not? That's a bit disappointing. I was hoping to see that by now. The airplane in real life would tune it. Does anyone know, is this a bug? Do I need to tune it myself? Or am I going to make it worse? Oh well, Bravo Golf, it's got it. It won't let me enter the course, so hopefully that doesn't actually matter in this mod. There we go, Bravo Golf is identified. And if I show you the charts, you can see that that's what we're looking for. Bravo Golf and 110.5 is the frequency, has a DME. So good, it's all coming together. Eric says, looks like I'm late again, but we reached minimum excuse altitude. We haven't. So, minimum excuse altitude, thanks Eric, thanks for reminding me, is 1,000 feet. Ooh, I can start to see some terrain. Red lights mean high points on the terrain, so masts and tall buildings. Man-made things. So, let's get that light off. We have to make all of our excuses for the landing by the time we're at... turn the wing anti-ice off now, and I'm going to put the terrain display on because that red is too much, too alarming. By the time we reach, oh yeah, let's slow down. 15 miles, definitely time to slow down. The approach phase is already activated, that's good. And we're going to join the arrival at 3,000 feet. After Rivet, we'll go down to 3,000. Max 220 knots at Rivet, so we're going to slow down now. Yeah, so by 1,000 feet, I have to make all the excuses for why the landing may not be as smooth as we would like. Oh, there's anti-ice again. We all know that the the Microsoft anti-ice system is a little bit keen. Okay, let's put out flap 1. We're below those amber eyebrows, so flaps 1, which we can't see, but there they come. It wants engine mode select. Severe ice. Oh my goodness me. I've never seen an Airbus with this system. Severe ice is not good. Right, down to 3,000 feet as we pass Rivet. That's 11%. 12 miles out, 4,000 feet. The glide slope looks pretty good, so that's about right. So yeah, so my excuse today, well, it's the fly-by-wire 320 NEO. I haven't done many landings in it at all. That's my excuse. Master caution there. Yeah, like I say, I've not flown an aircraft with this setup, but that could put some limitations on your landing, I'm sure. Let's get flap. Actually, we don't need flap 2 just yet. We'll carry on as we are. Right, soon to make our left turn in. Looking pretty reasonable. Zoom in on that. So if you have all the anti-ice systems on like this, like we've got all of them on, then there is a chance as well. You're going to find that the airplane doesn't idle. The engines won't idle or slow down quite as much. So you end up with extra speed. But I don't think that's modelled in the simulator yet. Speed out star, 11 miles out, 3,000 feet. So we know we're below the glide slope. That's all good. Still no air traffic control, so I will announce it to VATSIM shortly. Right, I will run my sort of generic checklist. So approach checklist, we've done the briefing, we've done the status, we've done the seatbelts, we've done the barrier ref, we've done the MDA and the engine mode select as required. So next will be the landing checklist. Again, apologies guys if I miss anything in the chat, there's just too much going on now. Right, so below this eyebrows, flaps 2 can come out, intercepting from 3,000 feet at 10 miles. Yep. It's about right. It'd be about 9 miles, the actual intercept. And we're visual. Fantastic. Wow, that is a dark, dark picture. So that's another excuse. In before 1,000 feet. It's too dark outside the window. I'll use that one even. Pilot Peely, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're catching the end of the stream. Yeah, great stuff. Absolutely, it's excuses time. No doubt. No doubt. So 160 knots at 8.8 miles. No problem there. All looking good. Hopefully we can get rid of the wing anti-ice. The wing anti-ice, once the ice has been broken off and you're into clearer air like we are now, you wouldn't leave it on. There's no point. I didn't arm approach, did I? Glide slope star, lock star, that is not good. So we're above the glide slope. Let's put the gear down to help us maintain our speed. Now that wouldn't have worked in real life. You'd have to do a glide slope from above, which I have done in previous videos. I was too busy letting the navigation mode take all the slack. Flaps are at 3. So now we've got the drag out, so it's okay. It's going to slow itself down for us. Yeah, if you find yourself above the glide slope, the first thing you need to do is configure and slow down, just to give yourself a chance. So before I talk over and forget something else, let's go to flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. That will appear on the ECAM soon. We should see that appear soon anyway. Is the engine ignition on because of the ice? Yeah, so the ECAM asked us to do that. You would do that in severe conditions. It's not going to make much difference for landing, so I'll leave it there. That doesn't have any performance impact. Right. So put these nose wheel lights on. Now the landing gear is down. That one. That one. I'm going to leave the engine NTIS on because I don't want the simulator getting upset with us again. And we have to call the cabin crew to tell them we're landing. And arm those ground spoilers, of course. When the gear went down, ground spoilers would be armed. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. Auto thrust is in speed mode, which is up here on the left of the PFD. Going altitude, 3,000 feet is set. ECAM memo, landing that blue, that's all on. So we're pretty much ready to go with visual, and I will announce now onto Unicom. And Bergen traffic, Shamrock 242, final approach, runway 35 to land at Bergen. Now I think I'm supposed to have done that on the frequency, not actually, sorry, on the, if I can get the words out, on the text, not on the chat, but there we go. Fly-by-wire team have done a great job of modifying the seat position now. So it used to be too low, and then I used to hit spacebar to get to better view. But now the default position in this mod is pretty spot on. So yeah, so we've got our excuses in, all 4,000 feet. That's good stuff. Apologies if I'm missing the questions. Yeah, it's a busy time of flight. Right, let's get ourselves on the ground. Now, I haven't done many landings in this mod, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. In fact, I don't even remember what key I've assigned to disconnect the autopilot. So let's do it like this. Autopilot off. Triple click. The flight directors seem to go all over the place quite quickly when you do that. Nope. Need to keep the default view there. Okay. Just keeping that picture out the window. I don't know why the flight directors are doing that. They shouldn't. The Airbus is very stable. You should really not need to do much at all. If you're not following the flight directors like this, you should turn them off as well, but I don't have enough hands to do that. That would be a job for the other pilot. I hope they fixed the banking issue where it suddenly rolls one way or the other as you cross the runway. You might hear my joystick creaking. Getting a little bit high. Keep it coming down. Keep that vertical speed on point. It's a bit much. Here we go then.
Bergen traffic, tune the ILS on 35, landing.
God, it's a dark picture. Get that flare in. Harder the thrust levers. Just hold it there. Just let it settle on the runway. There we go. And let's get those reversers out. Reverse green. So we're looking for some spoilers. Oh, they don't display yet. Reverse green, and let's get it slowing down with some manual brakes because those low water brakes aren't doing much for us. Great stuff. Doesn't bank anymore, says Togo. Okay, so that excuse was never going to be valid for me. Right, here we go. Let's take this next exit. We're below 70 knots, and we'll cancel the reversers once we get down to an idle speed. I wish we could do a replay, but I love the new lighting effects on this add-on. It just looks amazing. They're all 90-degree exits here, so we'll take that nice and slow. It's very deceptive after landing. You'll think you're going slower than you actually are. So outside the window, it might look like you're doing... You might think you're doing, say, 20 knots, and then you look in and you'll be doing 50 knots because your brain has become accustomed to the high speed. Did that work out? Did it, that landing? I don't see the landing rate on my screen. I know that just the overlay does it. Good. People seem happy. Good stuff. Which is good considering that was we've never had so many viewers. 700 viewers. Do please like the video if you're enjoying it. Thank you so much for coming along and watching the stream. That's definitely a new record for the channel. I hope you enjoyed that. If we can get a like for the landing, that will go a long way to helping YouTube promote the channel for us. Okay, I need to contact ground. That's what I'm missing. Let's see if Dan is our controller. So I'll just come over here. We'll see this other aircraft land. 12 knots, a little bit fast. So let's slow that down. Set the parking brake. And let me bring up, let's see if ground is there. 1219, 1219. I'm glad that worked out. Yeah, the team at the Fly-by-Wire have done an amazing job with this mod. So now the final approach pitch attitude and so on just is so much better than it used to be that you can do sort of the normal landing technique. So I'm very pleased with the work they've done on that final approach. Right, let's check in then. Bergen ground, good evening. Shamrock 242 vacated.
Shamrock 242, good evening. Thanks for visiting. Taxi Yankee Echo to stand 26.
Thank you very much for hosting us. And Yankee Echo stand 26, Shamrock 242. Great stuff. Now, watch me struggle with the charts. Yankee. Let me show you guys. I've missed 2 donations. I do apologise. Eric, thank you for 50 knock for the butter. Very kind of you, Eric. Thanks for your continued support on the channel and for your donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Eric. That's very kind. I'm glad that the landing worked out. And Chris Williamson says $10. That's very kind as well for the smooth landing and record viewer numbers. Also, I haven't seen any US dollars donations yet today. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me that you guys have enjoyed the stream and the channel. Oh, there we go. Look, we can see the lights beaming down of that landing aircraft. Brilliant. This is an amazing simulator when it all comes together. I can't thank the fly-by-wire team enough for the work they've done here. Right, once we've vacated the runway, we can get rid of the strobe flashing lights, the landing lights, and we'll just run on the taxi and turn off lights. Matt Olson, a $10 donation. There we go. So we get two US ones at once. I think we may have had one earlier, but I don't remember. But thank you so much. Well, I do remember all the donations, but I can't remember all the currencies. But Matt Olson, very kind of you. Thank you for your donation as well. It's hugely appreciated. And I'm glad you guys have enjoyed the stream. It's great. Yeah, what an amazing stream we've had today. I can't thank you all enough for coming along. Yankee Echo, so a little way down. I'm looking for Echo. You can see we're on Yankee, and then we're going on to stand 26. So that'll be straight in. So he's given us a really nice stand there. That's good stuff. Right, let's get the dome light on so you guys can see roughly what I'm doing. So disarm the ground spoilers now. You have to do that manually. Flaps can go to 0. Now, if you had ice build up on the wings from the flight, you might leave those out to make sure you get that cleared before retracting them so it doesn't compress. But it's positive temperature out here, and we were out of the cloud for a long time in positive air, so that should be good. It's dry on the runway, so have engine anti-ice off. Let's start up the APU.
Bergen ground.
And this is the free scenery, which has these gates drawn on properly with even the numbers, which is a great idea. I wish more places had big clear numbers like that.
Shamrock 2121, good evening. Thanks
Start the
for
APU.
visiting.
Right.
Yankee Foxtrot to stand.
Make sure we get our radar off.
Yankee Foxtrot, stand 25.
Off.
Shamrock 2121.
And TCAS can go to standby. Okay, now I'm looking out for Echo. Great markings here, especially with this add-on scenery, but I've just missed that one. Which one was that? I wish we could do a replay. That's Delta. Right, so we want to go one more. Husker66, yeah, $5 donation. Wonderful and educational stream. Thank you. You're very welcome, Husker. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's really kind of you. Thank you for coming along and supporting the channel and donating as well. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, so thank you to Husker as well. So we've got $3 at once. Chickpoint says, I love to see other aircraft landing after a long flight. Yeah, me too. It's great fun. Especially, thank you for the guys who've flown along today on VATSIM. We'll do this as a group flight using Microsoft one day, certainly. Jacek says, it's my first stream. I'm finishing my PPL license. I will watch your stream as learning hours. Excellent, yeah. Certainly don't use any of this for any real world flying learning. It does not qualify for that. This is all just for our own fun in simulator. There's Echo. But yeah, thank you for coming along and watching. Why did you arm the spoilers? You arm the spoilers on approach so that when you touch down, they come up for the landing. But after you vacate the runway, you need to get rid of them. Nick Cohane says, did my strongest crosswind landing in Bergen at Wizz Air, 38 knots, so right at limits. Yeah, fantastic. So Nick, another 320 pilot. Thanks for coming along, Nick. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. Right, 26, here we go. So before we turn on to stand, got our APU available. I'm going to turn off the taxi lights because they will be too bright for the ground crew. They would not appreciate that. I'm going to check we've got some accumulator pressure left, so in case we lose our engines, we can still use the brake and bring the aircraft to a stop. That should have disarmed itself when I did manual brakes. Right, pretty much ready to go. Jan Christopherson says, thank you for the entertaining stream, €5 donation. That's really kind, Jan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. Again, you're all far too generous. Thank you. Really kind of you. I'm slightly ahead of the donations there. That's great. Here we go, parking on 26 then. Sorry about the lack of a replay, guys. It's just not going to happen today until they add it into the sim. But I know it's been modded, so I haven't tried the mod yet, so I'm going to give it a go. They're still armed by mistake. Oh, I see, ground spoilers armed. Yeah, good point. Goodbye. There we go. If you leave them armed after landing, they would just stay up until you park. When you park, they would go down as they lose hydraulic pressure anyway. Oh, glorious. glorious view of this aeroplane. These stands are quite interesting. That these are very old jet bridges, as you can see, even with the rust. Great freeware, this add-on. You wouldn't be that rough with the brakes. It's just that I've only got one brake option in the sim. But yeah, so they can't move much. So you've really got to get the parking just right so that it can connect to the passenger door behind you. But yeah, you'd be able to control the brakes a bit better than this. And there. Let's try that. That's got to be good enough. Set that parking brake. Right, so the APU is available. Definitely want that to be true. And get back that to norm. Got the anti-ice off. APU is definitely available, so the generator, because if you forget to have the APU on here, it will go very dark when you do that. Engines come off. Let's wait for them to spool down. Oh no.
Charlie,
Continue.
Quebec, Charlie Alpha. I can't give you a view of our.
There we go. We're below 10% N1, so we are going to turn off the beacon.
If you like.
And turn off the seatbelt signs. Passengers will rush up now, desperate to get off the airplane. Kurt, last thing, another US $5 donation. Very kind of you, Kurt. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. Kurt says, great job, much appreciated. No, thank you, much appreciated, Kurt. Thank you so much. Right, again, apologies if I've missed any more questions and so on in the chat. I do try, but it does happen. Right. Need to get some pedals. Yeah, I need to get some pedals working for this. So there we go. That is us parked up. Daniel Grimley, thank you for your subscription. As our colleague, amazing. Amazing. Thanks so much for flying along. I've totally forgotten the username of the other colleague, but there we go. We've had great fun here. What I'm just going to try and do, I think it's worth the risk now. I'm going to try and get the drone out. It just means that the simulator will freeze for me for a few seconds, which is always a bit heart-stopping, but it may come back to life. And we have the special outro rock music for you guys. So thank you all for coming along. I really can't tell you how much it means to me. This is by far the most viewers we've ever had on this channel. So thank you so much for coming along for the stream. I really hope you enjoyed it. There we go. I think we have action. Okay. We'll go to our drone. Yeah, so thank you all so much. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. There'll be more to come. As I said, this mod is now in a position where it's really very usable for us, and it's just great fun. And I'm glad so many of you have enjoyed it. Philip Maurer, €10 donation. Thank you so much. Thanks for the great stream and your very helpful videos. Greetings from Lao. That's so kind of you. Thank you, Philip. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much for contributing to the channel. And thank you to everyone who's donated today. It's really appreciated. But thank you all as well for just liking the video and coming along and subscribing and watching. It makes all the difference to the YouTube algorithms, as you all, I'm sure, are aware of. So we'll be doing this again soon. SB, thanks for coming along. And thank you for watching. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I can't get everyone's name, and I do apologise. I wish I could, but thank you all. And now we're just going to start the let's start the outro music. See how this works. And I will say to you guys, do please subscribe if you'd like to see more of this. More to come, more tutorials on the channel. Do check out my channel for the other videos if you've got questions about various things we can do in the simulator. I've got plenty of videos, but there'll be more to come. And yeah, we shall see you again in another tutorial or live stream soon. All do please keep safe, keep well, and have a very good new year. We'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.